doesn't clink out quickly. If I could pull off my full 3 hours, that'd be pretty cool. We shall see, though. Okay, let's do that. Let's alert the Discord. Okay, see what we get here. Let's have a little discussion. Already a W stream? Nah, not yet. Not yet. We'll get there though. What's up, Granddad? Good to see you. How's your day? How's your night? How's your everything? Um, yeah, if the stream clinks out because of my low upload, then automatically an L stream, you know, by default. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, good to see you. It's Friday. Figured it'd beat drinking alone, right? Fuck it, let's do it. Let's have a little discussion, poo. Talk about religion and God and Jesus and Muhammad and the Hindu gods and Brahma and Buddha and all this different stuff. I just really, really hope it doesn't clink out. That's probably one of the most annoying things about this is when the stream just dies. Not in viewership, but just like, I mean, viewership kind of sucks too, but when it just completely, totally fucks up and people can't hear me and Streamlabs stops working, sucks. Your dad left the hospital? Oh, is he okay? Your dad doing all right? Hola, mis amigos. Hola, ¿cómo estás? You're Mickey Mouse? How do you say Mickey Mouse in? I don't know how to say Mickey Mouse in Spanish. But anyway, what's up, Mr. Gecko? Good to see you. Good to see you. Got the normal peeps in here. It feels kind of weird getting started, like just only on YouTube and not on TikTok. Feels so, I don't know. Because by now I probably would have already been called not a true Christian or some shit, you know? So just waiting to hit that YouTube algorithm and to get the usual players in here is, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, what is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I guess let's appreciate the quiet while we still have it. Like, kind of suffering from success if that's your issue, though, right? A little better than when he entered it. Okay, yeah. Well, I hope whatever's ailing your father, he gets better. Hope he gets better, pulls through, you know, all the good stuff, and keeps pushing for sure. You'd expect to see angry religious people in chats by now. Yeah. In the chats or in my guest request saying, rise me, bring me up, I can prove God, and they just run a Darth Dawkins script. This is kind of something that pissed me off a little bit. I'll have fucking, I don't know, can't be a day over 21, right? Coming in to my streams on TikTok. Bring them up as a guest. How old are you? 19, 20, 18, okay, whatever, right? And then just try to hit you with it. So you make the positive affirmation that there's no God. It's just like, you got to be a new level of autistic, right? I know I'm one to talk about autism, but you got to be a new level of fucking autistic to sit here and take your epistemology from a 63-year-old dude that's very clearly sundowning, right? Like, that can't be. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. How'd you learn so much about logical fallacies and what should be as educated as you are when it comes to debating? Well, firstly, I sincerely appreciate the compliment. I'm not even close. This is not me being humble. I'm just being realistic here. I'm not even close to other people within the space when it comes to logical fallacies. But My thing, I think my strength is like realizing what's intuitively, logically fallacious. Like, you got to think if somebody gives you an argument for why a book with talking animals is real or true, it's a true story or not, and you look at their argument, you have to dissect every little bit of it. And so you have to, odds are there's somewhere that they logically messed up. Um, and so just take each of their claims, break it down piece by piece, and then see if they all are true, and then go from there. That's how I do it for sure. Are you serious? What made you change? So for me, I just a really quick rundown. I read the Bible. The Bible gave the Bible made me think about God differently by the time I finished it. You know, so I was like, okay, well, let me look into apologetics. This can't be right. They were kind of dishonest, disingenuous. Always had an answer, which I found a little suspicious. And so I was like, okay, is this even real? That wouldn't be the case if this was an imperfect doctrine for a perfect God, right? So I looked into the arguments, and the arguments sucked. And so that's why I left. Here it comes. It's we're 53 now. Like the stream, by the way. Let's give a real quick like the stream, all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, it's coming. It's this guy. It is this guy. What's up? Not my real name. Is that your real name? He was 52 when you were born. Oh shit. Um, I had a friend recently whose dad was like in his 50s. I think like mid 50s or early 50s when he was born too. Man, it seems like a weird age to have a kid, but I'm not judging shit. If you can get it in, I mean, who am I to take that from you, right? What do you think about living? I mean, kind of like what's the point of living? I think it's up to you as a person to figure out what the point of your own life is, right? I don't think I could tell it to you, and I don't think there's an objective point to it. Like something that all of humanity can look to and be like, okay, that's the purpose for us existing as humans, right? I think it's up to you as an individual agent to decide what works for you and basically where you want to steer the plane that is your life, you know? Uh, I can't speak whatever language that is. It looks like German. I don't know. Is it German? It is German. Animals were known as beasts. I don't know what you want me to do with that. Soy ratoncito. Ratoncito? That sounds like, if that's not the most, I don't know, like, how do I best say this? Like, if I had to take a guess on what the word mouse meant in Spanish, that's probably, like, I would probably guess that. He's 75 now. W. Let's get a W for Grand Dang's dad over there in his country. I'm not going to say the country. And, I don't know if you want people to know that or not, but out there, are y'all near that city that starts with a B? Or, I don't know. Thanks for explaining. I've never been religious, but I've never hated or judged anyone. Honestly, I've never understood God and all that stuff. You got lucky, man. I spent the first, like 2/3 of my life believing in this shit. So, yeah, I'm always admittedly just a little bit envious when people say that they never believed in it or were never indoctrinated. Yeah, they were the lucky ones for sure. Why become atheist? I just didn't see any evidence for God existing. That's why I left. If there were good evidence for me to keep believing in God, I would have stayed as a Christian. But looked at the evidence, saw if it passed objective scrutiny. It didn't, so I left. That's about as simple as it gets. If you're asking like, why did I remain an atheist instead of like joining some other religion? I mean, if you go from believing in one God to believing in none, and you have reasons to go from one to none, then those reasons need to not apply to all the other gods too, right? Is it wrong to believe in God? I don't think it's wrong or right to believe in God. I think it's just whatever you're convinced of is what works for you for sure. Personally, I just don't see a good reason to. Fellow apostates unite. Fellow apostate. Ooh, W. I see the. I don't speak Polish at all. But my grandma was Polish. I see you. What's up, Caleb? Good to see you. Yeah, fellow apostates unite. Hell yeah. Uh, you're in the weirdly famous city that start. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, hell yeah. Can you explain the river drying up like described in the Bible? I sure can. So read the rest of Revelation 16, which you're talking about. It gives the prophecies for the 7 bowls of God's wrath that's going to be poured out, and the Euphrates River drying up is number 6. So there's 5 other ones that have to happen before that one can be a fulfilled prophecy. The other 5 are ugly festering sores breaking out on the faces of people that took the mark of the beast, oceans and springs turning into blood, rivers turning into blood, the sun getting so hot that it causes blisters and, sets fire to everything, and the throne of the beast being plunged into the darkness. I don't know about you, but those other 5 haven't happened, so I don't take the Euphrates River drying up to be a prophecy. But not even speaking biblically, the dam that supplies the river is controlled by Turkey, and Syria and Iraq are also fighting for it. Or, there's dispute for it. Turkey turns off the water, so that explains why it dries up. It also dries up naturally. It most recently dried up in 2014, and before that in 2006. So it's in cycles of drying and then replenishing. There's also the fact that it's just getting hotter in the region. There's less rainfall in the region. So there's not only are there scientifically natural explanations for the Euphrates River, but there's not even a biblical lake to stand on, with its drying being, for the biblical prophecy. Can you explain a church burning down after a gay marriage? The same way I explain all the many churches that didn't burn down after a gay marriage. Something that happens. Things burn down. If a God that exists is homophobic, then you go from me not believing in this God and not believing it exists, period, to believing it's a homophobic piece of shit, What's up, Shelly? Good to see you. Was it belief in God or belief in a Christian Bible? Both. Like, I believed in one God, right? Like, the God of the Christian Bible. So if I stop believing in the God of the Christian Bible, then I'm left with no gods. You know what I'm saying? You think all religions are the same? I think all the religions that make claims of supernatural stuff are the same in that they believe in things that are false, right? There's nothing wrong with God, belief in God, unless it's a justification for just awfulness. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not going to take that away from you, but personally, as long as we're not using our beliefs to try to legislate our personal beliefs into government, then we're all right, I'm almost at that point too, buddy. The Old Testament, I'm having a hard time with all these gods and demons in the New Testament. I absolutely believe. Yeah, it's the Old Testament's rough. That's a rough part of the book for sure. The God of the Old Testament was such a diva. Such a diva. Just like, oh, gonna condone you, I don't know, raping unwed virgins, I guess. Deuteronomy 22. It's like, I guess. I don't know. What do you think Satanism is? It's a secular humanist organization, basically. There's a man in the sky staring at me right now. Is that God? I'd take your medication and then see if you also still believe that there's a man in the sky staring at you. Was there ever any other mythology you found compelling? I would say like Hinduism, just as far as like the poetry of the claims made, like the entire universe being birthed from Brahma's navel. I think that's pretty cool. But as far as like evidentially, no. What kind of proof would it take for you to believe? I think the most optimal would be if God just showed himself, right? But a logical argument I have to do in the meantime, or something that shows that the supernatural claims of the Bible are true, There's no God. I agree. I was an atheist for 13 years, now a Catholic. Discovering the truth is a journey you must make with God if you intend to find it. If you try to go it alone, you only find yourself, and it leads to nihilism and atheism. It sounds like you're just trying to hold my religious convictions to some standard, to show to basically get at the idea that I'm not doing it the right way. And I've been having Christians tell me that for the past 10 years, so yeah, I don't buy it. And the Beauty and the Beast, is the Beast really gay, or is he just pretending? It was the Beast gay in the Beauty and the Beast? Do you believe mythology should all be taken literally, or is there room for understanding something metaphorically? I think there is room for understanding things metaphorically, as long as there's like a reliable mode of figuring out what's metaphor, allegory, poetry, and what isn't, The Bible doesn't provide that mode, though. You do realize that God isn't homophobic if it goes against God's will. If God is actively saying homosexuality is a sin, then God is definitionally homophobic. Just because say, oh, he's not homophobic, he just doesn't like it. It's against his will. Almost said a word, motherfucker. That's homophobia, right? Like I'm not gonna call words different words just because you want to chalk it up to God, right? There's a loving God. He doesn't hate gay folks, especially if he made them, right? We're gonna make some people with the attraction towards people of the same sex and then call that a sin. Fuck off. Could there be a higher dimensional being that created this reality? I think it's possible. I just don't see a reason to believe in it. Believe Jesus existed, but he was just a man. Yeah, that's about where I am too, honestly. Every knee will bend, every tongue will confess Jesus is Lord. This is a catchphrase. I don't know what you want me to do with that. Would I believe if I had a dream about Jesus? No, I would not. Whoever's saying there's no God is obviously not willing to look into the research themselves. Me looking into the research is what made me conclude that God doesn't exist. Right. So, I feel like you're trying to just set up for this idea of, oh, you'd believe in God and you'd have a belief that I find satisfactory if you actually did the research, and you don't believe in a God, then you didn't do satisfactory research. And I just feel like it's never ending cycle, right? I could get a degree in theology, philosophy, physics, biology, and just all the ologies, and still come to the conclusion that there's no God. And you would still be like, oh, well, you haven't done the research. And so it's just no winning with y'all, right? While you're still doing this, you act like an obstinate Catholic screaming on his soapbox. Am I really acting like an obstinate Catholic screaming on his soapbox? Am I out on the streets with a megaphone and a milk crate and a cardboard sign on a stick? No. I'm on YouTube in the shorts algorithm where people can scroll in or out. You were never a Christian to begin with. I was a Christian. Yeah, well, I was a Christian. If you expect me to go back and forth with you about that, then you got another thing coming. What's your definition of God? A being with a mind that had the intent to create the entire reality we live in. And you don't seem to understand. I love that song. All right, let me get you on out of here. We got our first skadoosh of the evening. Sean Smith doesn't know how to stop spamming. He's like, I'm going to invalidate you and I'm going to spam this invalidation. Then you can go. Have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you, but skadoosh. Skadoosh. Take care, Sean. Have a good rest of the night. Rolled in a pack, dude. Get the fuck out. That's practically the argument for being agnostic. You can never definitively know, I suppose. Yeah, for me, if we want to define a God as something that created our reality and that doesn't have to operate by the laws of our reality, then I feel like that's an unknowable position. So the most honest thing to do would be to be agnostic about it. I hope you're having a good night and no one's being too toxic. A little late for that, but thank you for the good wishes, Ginger Place. Appreciate you. Do you believe in anything non-material? Not necessarily. Like, I believe in things that are conceptual. Like, people use the word metaphysical. I don't like the word metaphysical. I feel like it doesn't get it front loads some sort of tangibility that I can't really jive with. Like, I believe in the existence of things that we define that aren't like physical things for sure, but do I believe that they exist in a way that we access them rather than as a way that we define human phenomena? Then no. You're confusing anyways. I guess I'm so confusing you didn't know how to spell your. You can't even talk. How can we take you seriously? Oh, okay, well, I'm literally talking right now, so I don't know what to tell you. What if people think God is going to automatically going to do something to prove his existence? It doesn't work like that. If the research that I did for a year and a half and for, I guess, to a lesser degree for the 10 years since, isn't enough for God to show himself, then, I mean, that God's lazy at that point, right?
What denominations were you a part of?
Chaos Reality, thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. You skipped the line. What denominations was I a part of? I was in nothing but Baptist churches until I was 16. There was like maybe if we, for some emergency reason, we had to go to another church for the Sunday. I went to a Universalist church once, and I think I went to a Methodist church once, but I mean, that doesn't constitute the denomination, right? Um, but consistently, I was in a Baptist church until I was 16, and then after I left my last Baptist church, I went to an Apostolic church for 2 years, and that's where I started questioning things. Like after 2 years of being in that. Safari Noor, have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you. Not only am I not going to become a Shia, I'm not going to become a Sunni, and also don't spam in my chats. Good douche. But anyway, thank you again for the $2 super chat, Chaos Reality. I appreciate it. As a former Christian, what parts of the Bible did you find compelling? Like compelling existence for God? I mean, as a Christian, all of it, right? But as an atheist, like not really any of it. Like there's no definitive proof for any of the supernatural claims in there. So I don't know. Just I wouldn't say that these parts, like the references to people or places that actually exist or existed, is compelling. Because I still could just chalk it up to historical fiction, the same way that what's that movie Inglorious Bastards is historical fiction. Are you making money? I'm making a little bit. It's not much though. I made like $10 yesterday, 7 after YouTube's fees, right? Can you name an instance where life comes from non-life? I sure can. Abiogenesis. What's up, Queen Victoria? Good to see you. God is real. Prove it. This guy's a literal scam. He's an atheist pretending, doing this for views. An atheist pretending? Am I an atheist pretending to be something else? Because if not, I'm openly saying I'm an atheist. If you mean like, am I a Christian or a believer that's pretending to be an atheist? I can promise you there's far, far, far better ways to make money or get views than pretending to be an atheist, right? Like, if it was just about money or views, then I would just say, oh, I used to be an atheist, but now I'm a Christian. Here's my testimony. Hallelujah, joy, joy. And just like rake up the donations, rake up the views, and have Christians in my chest saying, oh, amen. But doing this, I get dishonest people, I get invalidating people, obtuse people, ignorant people, dishonest people, performative people, and death threats. So no, that's not how that works. If we ask God to save our souls, God will save our souls from eternal damnation because we believe we saved them. I mean, I already did that, so I should be good, right? My mom created God. No, she didn't. What philosophies and religions have you studied beyond Christianity and or the Bible? Just as far as their claims, I've read the Quran just to get educated about the claims made in it. I'm going to read the Book of Mormon next, and then maybe after that the Gitas, and but yeah, that's where I'm at so far. But am I looking to actively be converted to another religion? No. When did you see a God exist out of nowhere? Yeah, fantastic question. Please read the Apocrypha for fun. No, I'm done with Christianity. I mean, just narratively speaking, it just bores me now. It used to be exciting. That's why I read the Bible a second time, but I'm just bored by it at this point. The atheists believe that everything comes from nothing, and so how is that possible? I can't speak for other atheists, but I don't believe everything came from nothing, right? I don't think the universe ever went from nothing to something. I think the universe and the stuff that makes it up has always existed in some form. The same way that people who believe in a God believe that the God's always existed. No way you read the Quran cover to cover. It's a brutal read. Oh yeah, man. The Surah 1 verse 1 all the way to Surah 114 verse 6. I've read the whole thing. I bet you're a 9 or 10-year-old with a deep voice. What the fuck kind of accusation is that? No, I'm not 9 or 10. I'm almost 30. When and why did you become an atheist? I became an atheist when I was 19, which was about 10 years ago. And why did I become an atheist? I just didn't see any evidence for God being real. I'm trans and my ex thinks we will go to hell. What do you think about that? I think that's pretty disgusting, actually, right? I think that somebody's identity, like their gender identity, it's never been fluid throughout humankind. If somebody thinks it's enough to qualify for eternal damnation, I think they're an awful person and they should probably get the fuck out of your life, right? Can you have a dream of Darth Vader and deny his existence? I sure can, right? Why not agnostic? I am agnostic. I'm just an agnostic atheist. I don't believe in a God, but I don't know if there's one or not. Science once told us we have higher sense, but not a God doesn't exist in proof. Once told us we have higher sense, but not a God doesn't exist in proof. I'll be honest with you, Joseph. Maybe I'm just reading that wrong, but I don't know. That doesn't really make sense to me. Mind rephrasing that? Has anyone here read the Book of Enoch, and do you believe in it? I haven't read the Book of Enoch yet, but I do plan to eventually. If you were 9 or 10, that voice is off. No, I can promise you I haven't been 9 in like 2 decades. What do you think consciousness is? I think consciousness is just an emergent property of a working brain. That's it. Favorite video game? My favorite video game is probably GTA 5, I think, somewhere in there. That X is wrong. I say this as a Christian. W. Let's go. W, not being transphobic. Let's fucking go. Should religion be taught to children and youth? I don't think so. I feel like religion would die if we started in like teaching people about it after like the age of 18. Right. You're confusing God with religion. They're the same thing, right? If you believe in a God and you have a certain set of like certain doctrine, no matter how ontologically not complex, simple it is, then you still have a religion, definitionally. Okay, so if God was an eldritch horror, I mean, if you read the Old Testament, you might come to that conclusion, honestly. You can't prove that God doesn't exist, but it's hard to prove he does. I know he does. You don't know he does because you can't prove that he does. You can, if you want to argue that something that exists outside of time and space and reality and matter and doesn't have to abide by the laws of logic or the laws of physics, if you want to argue that I should give credence to the idea just because I can't disprove it, then I'm just going to call you an idiot, right? It's just moving the goalpost to Jupiter and then like being surprised that I can't kick a goal through it. But other things that meet this standard, I call it non-existent. Everybody else calls it non-existent, so that's what I'm going to do with God too. Have you heard of the egg theory? I have heard of it. It's pretty nice for like what's like fostering empathy, but I don't believe it to be true personally. Do you make the positive claim that there's no God? No, that's just clickbait. I don't know if there's a God or not. Bro, quit yapping. Holy, how do you come to my stream and tell me to quit yapping? How does that work? If no creationism, why life? Abiogenesis and evolution. I'll kamehameha you, 9-year-old. What the fuck are you even saying at this point? You were never a Christian, bro. Johnny, I'm not going to debate you about whether or not you, somebody who isn't me, thinks that I, somebody who is me, was a Christian or not. I know what I was. You don't know what I was. This is the last of my attention you're going to get. If you think I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to defend my former beliefs to you. Please believe me. Please acknowledge please validate me. Then you got me fucked up. Ivan Flores Ramirez, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. You're genuinely awesome. Love you and hope you do well. I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's your favorite musical artist slash band? Currently is Deftones. Well, I say for band Deftones, for like single artists, probably like Amir Elfiki, right? Do you still believe in God? No. I'm atheist too. Are you the type of atheist that hates religion or find it interesting? A mixture of both. I feel like the claims made and the stories made are pretty fun, but once we try to apply them to our real life, then it gives way for things like science denial, atrocity justification, a lot of different pretty negative things. So a little bit of both. You sound like a child? Do I sound like a child? Or are you just like, did you expect a more complex answer out of me and like to give you more attention? Matter of fact, Johnny, it sounds like this isn't the stream for you. I'm gonna go ahead and skadoosh you really quickly. You have a great rest of your night. Appreciate you being here, but I don't need you in my life. Skadoosh. Take care. Have a good one. Bye bye. Everybody say goodnight to Johnny. Appreciate you though. You like boys? No, I don't like boys. I don't like boys in the slightest. Christ cucks loss is crazy. What do you like more, goldfish or Cheez-Its? I like Cheez-Its more for sure. It's that seeing people coming here just to ridicule you. It's fine. I knew what I was getting myself into. Quick question. If you were to see God, would you believe in God? Yeah, I would. What's the main reason you turned away from Christianity? Lack of evidence is why I turned away. Your lack of faith proves you have more faith than you think. I'm not going to debate you about whether or not I have faith in the idea that God doesn't exist. It's just if nothing else, it's an irrelevant point, right? Like, Oh, let me drop this whole discussion and just try to defend the fact that I don't have faith. That's retarded. How do you explain people having supernatural encounters with God happen to me? Hallucination, false attribution of natural events to a supernatural origin. Um, some of them are just outright lying about it. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that I justify it. Find and follow Jesus because he's the Lord and Savior of this world. It's not too late. No, thank you. I'm good on that. I'm so sorry Jesus still loves you though. Good for him. What evidence would you need to beyond a reasonable doubt to believe God? I think the most convincing evidence will be him literally coming down and showing everybody that he's real, right? Funny how religious people ask atheists to prove there's no God when they're the ones making an extraordinary claim that there's one and the burden of proof is on them. Yeah. So many of them want to play hot potato with the burden of proof. I mean, at that point, I don't even engage with it really, honestly. It's just make them realize how stupid it is to try to do such a thing and then just keep it pushing. Hopefully, I'm still accepted as a child of prosperity in his kingdom that's so vastly greater than the others. Sure. What evidence would you already answered that? Should me mom have the right to make me believe Christian even though I don't want to be? It's not, she can't control your beliefs, right? She can maybe like control whether or not you go to church, but if you're unconvinced, then you're just unconvinced, right? Did you, I guess, look at other faiths for a while after losing faith in Christ? No. To compare, if I had to give an analogy to it, like imagine if I got freed from a plantation and then just immediately went to another plantation, right? Like, why would I do that? Brendan, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what evidence? I literally, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. Yeah, just so you can stop spamming. 5 minutes. Good douche. I'll see you in a minute. You don't need evidence. It's just simple logic. This is stupid. I mean, logic would count as evidence, right? If God is logically necessary for some reason, then I mean, I'm glad to hear that out. But even then, that doesn't work out either, right? Are you open to believe in a real Jesus if I can prove his existence? Not really. It's I can not because like I'm closed minded to the idea of believing, but because I can promise you I've heard your argument at the very least 100 times before, and I mean that's the low estimate. I'd say for something like the idea that God is the cause of my morals, I've heard that a few thousand times at this point. But even the most unique arguments, I'd say like 100 times before. How was the universe created? I think the universe itself has always existed. Personally, do you think the world would benefit from being more like Jesus? In some ways, yeah. In some ways, no. Jesus did call a woman a dog before, and he did curse a fig tree because it didn't have any fruit on it. He had some impulsive diva moments, but he wasn't as bad as the Old Testament God. I'll give him that. Do you believe the universe had a beginning? No. Can there be something created from nothing? No. But luckily for both of us, nobody said such a thing. I went through a lot of inevitable suffering, so I turned into an atheist. I mean, don't let anybody tell you that's not a decent enough reason to become an atheist, right? Don't let anybody take that from you. Do you think Jesus was real? Sure. So many haters in chat, you don't gotta believe if you don't want. There we go. We're all atheists. I just reject one more God than some people. There you go, right? The universe may be eternal. Yeah, that's what I believe. What's your bench press max? Back when I used to work out a lot more, I think I don't know, it was something paltry. Like I'm talking like shit, like maybe 180. I did not get too far into working out back when I used to work out. Guys, stop spamming these what is this, like a tram emojis? Whatever you do, don't spam tram emojis, all right? Please don't do it. Please don't. Okay? Daniel, stop it. Younger me, I went through my own trial by fire, just don't care anymore. There you go, right? Will I eat an apple on stream? I don't have an apple currently, but if I had one, I would. Broad grain, stop it. Who created you? My parents had sex. That's how I got here. If something cannot be created from nothing, isn't that fundamental proof of a God or creator? No. The idea that something can't come from nothing, I sincerely agree with it, but that would just mean that if something exists, it's always existed for the same reason that you think that God's always existed, right? No, don't say keep spamming, dude. Don't encourage this behavior, right? Why are we spamming pregnant men? What the fuck are we doing, dude? Teresa, what are we doing, dude? Come on, let's stop it. Stop this right now. Am I gay? I don't know. Are you gay? How you doing, Megan? I was playing worship songs on piano one week and then learned my boyfriend died. Never again. God isn't real. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. Oh, once you stop believing, lack of evidence is why I stopped believing. Can a water bottle in my fridge one day write a book? No, but I'm not seeing your I'm not seeing how that's analogous to anything. Stop encouraging people to spam, man. Come on, stop that. Let's not do it. Delete the spammers. Yeah, I'm gonna start skadooshing a bunch of different people. All right, stop spamming. All right. Can I also happen to push you away from God to become an atheist? So I left my faith after about a year and a half of deconstruction. And deconstruction is just critically thinking about why you believe what you believe, interrogating your faith, taking it apart layer by layer, piece by piece, checking to see if you find any veracity in the claims of the faith. And ultimately, for me, after about a year and a half of that process, I just came to the conclusion that I don't believe in anything supernatural or divine. I'm from the United States. At the end of the day, I respect what you choose, but for me to believe in my God, I can't make you believe in him, but it's your choice. I mean, for me, it's not a choice to not believe. I'm just genuinely not convinced, you know? So that's why I don't believe, if that makes any sense. Uh what if the true God was garlic bread? I could get behind that. I could fuck up some garlic bread right now. Shit, what am I looking at? I'm sorry, give me a quick second. Okay. The fuck? English or Spanish? Drinking alone, alcoholic much? No, I'm going through some shit. Why are you evading my question? There's 200 people in here. I can promise you, Avelino, I don't know you. I don't give enough of a shit about you to avoid your question. I can promise. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Mine's lemon. Lemon's great. I like salted caramel though. As a deist, I believe life is a currently unmeasurable form of energy, reincarnation, egg theory, and one's own personal philosophy. These are some takes for sure. Some I disagree with, but you know, these are some takes. Hell yeah, whatever works for you. Thoughts on Kanye West right now? He's going out bad, dude. It's not looking too good for him. Do you think the world will be a better place with no religion? I think that a world that preaches good morals and appreciation of one another and protection of one another without a religion and without these things that can be used to control other people would be a better world for sure. For sure. Sorry. All right, let me get some people out of here real quick. Yeah, you can go skadoosh, take care, have a good rest of your day. You can go too. Yeah, let's just put you out of here. I'm gonna roll y'all in a pack real quick. Skadoosh. Who else? Who's next? You hate God because he said you couldn't be gay. No, that's not why I don't believe in God. So you don't believe in Jesus with historical evidence? No, I've openly said on this stream that I believe that Jesus existed. I just have no reason to think he was the son of God. Can you Google Ibsina argument for God and read it out loud? Unfortunately, what's your name? Amran. There's 200 people in here right now. I'm not gonna just you know, Google random shit and read the random shit because one random person tells me to. Why are people getting banned? Just for being annoying. Skadoosh, skadoosh, skadoosh. Are you an existentialist? I am an existentialist. Hell yeah. What is up? My fellow purpose maker. How's the universe perfect? If gravity was less, it would explode. If it were more, it would explode. Also, life is so rare. How do we get here in the first place? The evidence is there. If the God that you want to argue for is the maker of just this planet and none of the rest of the universe, sure. But if the God made an entire universe that's hostile to life except for this one planet, I'm not seeing how that's proof for God, you know? How often do I go live? I try to go live about 5 times a week on average, right? Somewhere in there. Skadoosh. Would this be a bad time to suggest that there is a God and his name is Jungkook? All right, High Inquisitor, dude. What? Firstly, where the fuck have you been? Secondly, no, we're not doing that. What's the personal use of a religion and what's the personal use of atheism? I'm not even going to entertain the idea of like what's the personal use for both because the answer is different for everybody. But for me, I'm an atheist not because it's like what serves me best, but because it's just what I'm most convinced of, right? I'm least convinced in the idea that a God exists. So that would mean by default, I'm, just don't believe in a God, making me an atheist. Are you going to play GTA 6 when it comes out? I'd have to buy a console first, but because it's gonna come out on console like a year before PC. But yeah, I'm gonna play it for sure. Uh, donuts or churros? I don't know. Depends on the donut. Like a sour cream donut over a churro. Like the pink frosted ones that are just like some random non-flavor. I'll take a churro over that for sure. It just depends. Like raspberry jelly donuts over churros for sure. Plain frosted. I'll take a churro over that. What's the natural explanation of the origin of consciousness? An emergent property of a working brain. What made you switch? Lack of evidence for God is what made me switch. Do I like TF2? I've played it like twice and I really enjoyed it, but I just haven't picked it back up, you know. I'd explain Pharaoh's chariots in the middle of the Red Sea where Moses supposedly parted the said sea. I'd explain it as a hoax by Ron Wyatt. He was, if you can look him up right now if you want to, his name was Ron Wyatt. He's the one that claimed this, and he was a known fraudster. He was a nurse anesthesiologist. He was not a archaeologist at all. He was just a liar, a con man, and a trickster, right? Or are we still spamming these emojis, man? Come on, what are we doing this? What do you think about reheating meals? Depends on the meal, right? How's the Old Testament God different from the New Testament God? Technically they're not different unless you're like maybe Gnostic, but yeah, I mean, Jesus is openly saying to follow the law of the prophets in the Old Testament, Matthew 5:17 through 19. So, technically not. Why are we still spamming like pregnant men and trams, dude? What the fuck, dude? What are we doing? Stop it. Ron White, the comedian? No, Ron Wyatt, Wyatt. Do you just do Q&A lives or do you also do gaming lives? I'm going to start doing gaming lives eventually. Like right now, my internet's too fucked to do them. So in the future, I'm going to start doing them a lot more. You know, right now I'm just trying to, how do I best explain this? Let's say hypothetically my channel blew up tomorrow, right? Just out of the blue, I woke up, I went to sleep tonight with like 1.3 thousand subscribers and woke up tomorrow with 1 million for just no reason whatsoever. What I would do is travel the world, multiple parts of the planet that believe in like the similar things like Islam. Like I would say go to Indonesia, maybe a few countries in the Middle East, and like maybe a few countries in East or Northern Africa, see like the difference in Islam as it's practiced in multiple countries. Same with Christianity. Same with other predominant religions of different countries. I would look into fringe cults around the world. Like there's one in Vanuatu I really want to check out and interview them. I'd do things like that. I wouldn't, you know, so yeah, if that answers your question. Hawaii is nice. My son lives there in Maui. He loves it. Oh man, Hawaii looks beautiful. I gotta visit one day. The team and the pregnant man are a dumbass internet trend. I question our species sometimes. Yeah, yeah, everybody stop it, all right? Stop it right now. LOL liberal, you voted for a rapist. I mean, you're probably like 15, so you probably never even voted, but yeah, if you're not a liberal and you voted against, you know, the liberal candidate, you voted for a rapist. That's kind of my instant defeater. God isn't real? I agree. Do I believe in reincarnations? No, I don't believe in reincarnation. Why is you're genuinely soothing? Are you talking about my voice? If so, I appreciate it. It just sound like this. I appreciate the compliment. All right, let's get you on out of here. Noah, calm down. Just I'm gonna get you out for a couple minutes. You know, take 5 minutes. Take 5. Go get a snack. Go get some water. It's good douche. Get on out of here. The KJV Bible's the only proof you're gonna get. No, I'm gonna stop you right there. The KJV is an awful translation. Like I would rather somebody unironically read the ICB, the International Children's Bible, instead of reading the KJV. I'm not even joking. The NRSV is probably gonna be your best bet. Do I believe in women's rights? Absolutely, I do. Do Christians and atheists drink alcohol? I can't speak for Christians or other atheists, but I drink alcohol for sure. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take a swig right now. Fuck it. It's Friday. Why not? I don't drink very often, but when I do, it's kind of fun. You're a fool. I gotta screenshot this really quickly. Somebody say you're a fool, but he spelled your incorrectly. I'm sorry. This is too good. Wait. Give me a minute. You're a fool. Y-O-U-R a fool. In case you don't know, there's a difference between Y-O-U-R and Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Y-O-U-R is supposed to be used when you say the sentence, your ass is dumb, right? And Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is what you're supposed to say with, you're a dumbass. Like you are versus a possessive. These are two entirely different things. So calling me a fool while you can't even get your shit together is just, I don't know. That's kind of ironic. You're a fool. See, there you go, broad grain. Yeah, at least abbreviate it, right? Are you an atheist? I am an atheist. Do you feel God never answered in your life, or do you just not believe based on lack of evidence? I don't believe based on lack of evidence, right? I feel like something that has supposedly such good evidence for it would have had better evidence than Christianity did.
Bro, I love hentai.
Dude, what the fuck, man? Dude, hello? Hello? What? Huh? Firstly, 25 Schmeckles, W name. I love Rick and Morty, but I haven't watched it in years, but it was a fun show. Thank you for the 279 Canadian, but like, what the, huh? Why did I need to know that? Why did I need to know that? Like, hello? Why did I need to know that you like hentai? Hentai is not for me. I prefer my pornography to be three-dimensional, but like, why'd you have to tell me that? Anyway, thank you for the 279 Canadian. I appreciate that. Anyway, what are your thoughts on reincarnations? Again, I don't believe in. Okay, let me get you out for the literal rest of the stream. You're probably a bot. Skadoosh. Yeah, bye. Take care. And also, Alex C., thank you for subscribing. Nobody dies for a lie, so why so many people die for not denying Jesus? If you want to go with the argument that people dying for their beliefs make them true because nobody dies for a lie, then I'd rather just join Al Qaeda because their dying for their beliefs happened in my lifetime. I saw it on TV when I was 5 years old. Or if that's too new, I would go with becoming a Branch Dravidian because they had the Waco, Texas siege back in the early 90s and died for their beliefs. If that's too new for you, I would become part of the People's Temple because they all drank cyanide-laced Flavor 8 back in 1978. So do we want to go the route of saying that simply dying for your beliefs make them true, or do we want to start using our brain a little bit? Fellow atheists here, do you believe in reincarnation? No, I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't believe in souls, so I don't believe the soul goes anywhere after you die. Kind of ignorant. Okay, I read the LOL, so I know it's about to be retarded. You'd have to be a god to know for certain that there is no God. That's not how that works, no. What happens after death? Do we respawn? I think we just cease to exist, like before you were born, basically. Okay, let's do this. All right, we just got to start skadooshing. Skadoosh. Why do I have the attention wonders tonight, dude? Come on, what are we doing? You can go. Let me just get y'all out of here real quick. Skadoosh. Take care. Any tips for selling anything? Establish an audience and then like make it as like a point of support that your audience can do if they want to. I'd imagine you understand the reason why some people believe in God and why they keep believing and what the good things are that come from believing in God, whether he exists or not. Again, I do, sure, but phrasing it with your previous question of saying like, what are the good reasons for believing in God and what are the good, like the reasons for believing in atheism, basically, it paints this idea that one's convictions in the fulfillment or the positives and the pros that they find from their convictions is gives more credence to why people should believe in the things that they do. Coupled with your first thing that you said way back when, long before you asked that question, I'm just gonna think that's an intellectually dishonest thing to say, right? Do you play chess, and if so, what's your elo? No, I suck at chess. I'm not awful, but I'm not very good at it. What do you think Christianity was created? I think Christianity was created as a way to, like the Christian doctrine, like the post-Judaic doctrine was to better control the Jewish rebellion during the time of the Roman Empire existing. Did you get a chance to check out street epistemology as a, what's the word I'm looking for? As a, as like a logical mode or a logical way of thinking, or because in that regard, no, right? It's just, I think I'm doing good enough. What's stuff about Christianity that you find lack of evidence in? All of the supernatural claims, literally every single last one of them. People rising from the dead, zombies rising from the ground, and Matthew, I think it's like Matthew 20 something. Oh man, what else? Just literally like insert like just think about supernatural claim from the Bible. That's the things that I find lack of evidence in. You're into Scientology, aren't you? Fuck no. Fuck no. Free your minds from religion. Yeah, please. You can't bear persecution, pain, and death just because of your beliefs when thousands of people have died from different places. Huh? I might be reading that wrong. All right, let me get you on out of here real quick. Not even gonna say the name. Let me just get you on out. Hi, user on this channel. Skadoosh. Take care. Have a good one. Appreciate you, but you will never, ever, ever come back. Ever. Tua. Tua. Hawk. Tua. Hawk wanna. Hawk. Tua. How do you justify morality? Empathy is how I justify morality. There were no other cases of zombies in the Bible if you're referring to when Lazarus was raised. I mean, there's the Lazarus issue. There's the after Jesus rose from the dead, then a bunch of other people rose from the dead in Matthew 20, I think it's 22. And there's also Jesus himself
What are
rising
your
from the
thoughts
dead.
on religion as a source of community, irregardless of belief?
Chaos Reality, thank you so much for the $5. I sincerely appreciate it. What are my thoughts on religion as a source of community, regardless of belief? If it works for you and it convinces you and it's what you find the most useful source of a community in your personal life, by all means go for it, right? For me personally, I just try to find community elsewhere and can find a better reasons to establish communities with people besides like dusty old books. You get me? So yeah, but if it works for you, I'm not knocking you at all for it or anybody else for that matter. It's just not for me personally. Also, again, thank you again for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. Humans are meant to believe in God. Buddha wanted people to not believe in God and not people pray to him. What's your opinion on that? I don't think humans are meant to believe in God. I don't think that's true at all. I think humans are meant to I don't like I say the most I don't believe in any objective purpose, but I say the closest you'll get to it is maybe reproduce. Like if you really boil shit down, all of it boils down to us eventually reproducing, maybe like as other organisms do ultimately. So, maybe that's as far as we'll get with what we're meant to do, but no, I don't think we're meant to believe in a God. Do you believe religion can be used as a moral compass? I believe that it can be if you like pick and choose what claims to take from it, but in general it's not where I get my morality from, and I would feel that it's more fruitful and more useful to get your morality from outside of the religion. Like if I were to get my morality entirely from the Bible, I would have to say that slavery is permissible because God permitted it in Leviticus, or that rape is permissible because God permitted it in Deuteronomy, or that infanticide is permissible so long as God commands it, like he did in First Samuel. So, if people want to really look to it like somebody else's book to justify their morality, it could lead to a lot of awful places for sure. If empathy is the basis for morality, but empathy is relative, is morality too not relative? I mean, morality is relative no matter what, right? But beside that point, like the definition of empathy isn't relative. It's just your application of it and your ability to experience it is what makes it relative. Don't give up on God. I just don't see a reason to believe in him. So, um, you know, that's really about as far as we get with that. What if you die and you're wrong, you stand before God knowing you denied his existence? I wouldn't be scared of that in the absolute slightest. Not just because I feel like that's some fear mongering that the writers of the religion or the narrative put in to try to coerce people into staying in the religion, but also because if God's claim to truly be all loving, then my definition of love is one where we don't set up eternal torture or burning or torment or people that simply don't believe you exist, right? I think that's pretty not okay. Even if we had to do such a thing, like if there was some sort of, okay, I'm gonna get you on out of here real quick. If there was like any sort of if there was, if that had to be a thing, like making sure that people didn't go there in the most efficient way possible by showing oneself and not just arbitrarily saying, "Oh, I prefer you to have faith in me," to avoid this thing. I feel like that's, would be the best way to do it. And if you don't do that, you're pretty fucked up as a person, and so God would be pretty fucked up. So, um, there's only one of two options if God is real. He cared about the way I lived my life and the due diligence I looked that I gave to trying to figure out whether or not he existed. He would care about that more than me not believing in him. Or he's a piece of shit. And so both of those are outside of my hand, right? Screw your definition of love. Nobody cares. Thanks for admitting you're a sociopath. So how did all the expansions of space and the complexity of life and even a human eyeball come from non-life? Abiogenesis is how it happened. I don't know why people keep using the eyeball. Like, I don't know which apologist you'll keep borrowing that from, but I mean, a human eyeball isn't even the best eyeball. It's like, there's plenty of bug species, plenty of other animal species that have far better senses than we do. I don't know why y'all keep parroting that shit. Your opinions are interesting. I respect how you don't down people or you don't make people not believe. I have a brother who's an atheist and I don't push my beliefs, so I respect it, man. I appreciate that, Logan. Thank you. Thank you so much. One day you will need God again. Don't forget to pray. Yada yada yada. The motive behind a seed planted is not hate. What? All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna start hiding people really quickly. Yeah. Hide user on channel. You will never come back. Skadoosh. Just get the fuck out. The human eye was developed underwater like a fish. Yeah. I mean, by extension, all mammal eyeballs were, but yeah, you're right. Mantis shrimp can see every color. Yeah, I don't know why we keep using a human eyeball as the example.
What would be the most compelling hypothetical evidence of a god that if you got you will be second guessing if released within the next few decades?
Random user 6, thank you so much for tipping $1. I sincerely appreciate it. For me, the most compelling evidence for God that would make me just like, I wouldn't say drop everything necessarily, but would make me definitely take a step back and think about whether I'm wrong or not is if I basically saw it. I think that would be the most objective and the most efficient way to get me to believe in a God, right? If God or an angel literally came into my room right now and said, "Hey, I'm real. Here I am. This is real. Use your free will to do what you will with this information. Take care." I'd say that's pretty convincing for sure, right? But in the meantime, if that's impossible, I'd say like a logical argument that left God as the only possible conclusion would be the best. And if that didn't work, I don't know, maybe like good history, good archaeology that substantiates the claims made by different religions, that could do it too. But yeah, obviously the most efficient would be if God quite literally came down and said, "Here I am." So, but again, I appreciate the $1. Thank you so much. Why insert a God into any explanation? Fantastic question, right? You have a lot of faith in how the universe was created. Oh no, Electronic Hat said I had faith. Oh, oh boy. Oh, oh boy. I feel myself becoming more Christian by the second. Oh my goodness. Oh, one person said I have faith. Oh no, this is totally not an irrelevant thing to say. Oh, I guess. I don't know. You are so lost and full of yourself. I appreciate your opinion. Do you believe Jesus was a real person? Sure. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, a real person had a narrative written about him to quell the Jewish rebellion when the Roman Empire was having their issue with the Jews. Yeah, sure. Son of God, born of a virgin, rose from the dead, turned water into wine, walked on water, raised from the dead, healed the blind, healed the sick. No, absolutely not. So eyewitness testimony, but you write it down and people would doubt it like you doubt the testimony that's already there. I didn't say eyewitness testimony. I don't know why I don't know why y'all do this so often. Like y'all listen to me say the words and then you intentionally want to argue or you want me to give you attention or you want to, you seem intent on being dishonest with what I say. And so we just like, I could say literally right now, waffles are good with strawberry pancakes, and then we'll be like, oh, I mean, waffles are good with strawberry syrup, and you'll be like, oh, well, there's eyewitness testimony, but you deny that. Like, you want to appeal to some stupid argument so bad that you just outright ignore what the fuck I have to say, and that really pisses me off a little bit, because I don't talk for no reason. I'm trying not to be as unintentional with my words as I can be, right? So why do we just keep tossing away what I say in favor of like some tired ass argument? I will never fucking get it. Anyway, Dylan, thank you for subscribing. I sincerely appreciate it. Waffles suck. Waffles are great, man. Better than pancakes for sure. Look at the demiurge. Why would I look like what about it? You are dishonest. Thank you for your opinion. What belief or feeling did you hold as a Christian that you still find yourself missing or thinking about now as an atheist? Belief or feeling. Oh, here's one for sure. The sense of security that came with the idea that there was somebody always looking after me who couldn't hypothetically help me and whose will it was not to help me if he didn't. But knowing that there was somebody to toss up all of my bad emotions to, that was a good feeling. I'll give Christians that for sure. What I say, I miss it. I mean, when it comes with the other stuff, no, but it was one of the upsides to me being a Christian for sure. True, but they suck too. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we still disagree on the waffles, but at the very least, we can agree that waffles are better than pancakes. Do you miss having a spiritual life? Overall, not really. You were deceived by Satan, and you felt like he did. No, I was not deceived by Satan, right? I feel like that's a really exhausting way to live, to think that questioning one particular religious doctrine, meaning I'm being controlled by some supernatural invisible force. I feel like that's absurd. Saskia, thank you for subscribing. I sincerely appreciate it. Can I dance? No, fuck no. My coordination is really, really bad. I'm an atheist, but do you still say thank God and stuff like that? Sometimes, yeah. I say like thank God or like bless you or God damn it or oh my God, things like that for sure. They're just turns of phrases, right? Do I cry sometimes? Yeah, but pretty rarely. Yeah, it's pretty rare. I'm not some big tough guy. I feel the emotions, but I just feel like crying is like one of the more inefficient ways to solve my problems. You know. As an atheist, do you think a hot dog is a sandwich? I think a hot dog is a sandwich. Yeah. I feel like a hot dog is a sandwich for the same reason that a Subway sandwich is a sandwich, right? Like just because it's hinged on one side doesn't mean that there's not like a filling between two distinct parts of a bread roll, you know. Why do you think only Jesus is mocked and censored on TV and no others? You clearly haven't read Charlie Hebdo. He's I don't know if he still does it or if he's even still alive, but he was a French like he made comics, not like comic books, but you know like the comics you see in the newspaper. And he was extremely, or at least is extremely critical of Islam. He's made fun of Muhammad and Islam and Muslims so many times it's not even fucking funny. And that's the West, that's Europe. So no, Jesus isn't the only one mocked, and even if he was, it still wouldn't prove that Jesus was the son of God or that God exists. Is slavery okay or not, and why? I think slavery is pretty awful. I feel like it's anti-empathetic to feel as if the humans are ever in a position where they should be thought of as property, and it's my empathy that makes me think that. It's you know, my particular cultural upbringing that makes me think that, and there's a few other reasons I think that for sure. I can promise you that the reason I don't think that though is because of the existence of a God that condones slavery, like the Abrahamic God did in Leviticus and Exodus. Do you believe solely in evolution, or do you think creationism could play a role in making of the universe? I mean, evolution doesn't really, it's not really a claim on universal inception, just the evolution of species and organisms on the planet, right? Um, but to answer your question more directly, because I know what you were getting at, I just don't believe in creationism. I don't see a reason to believe that the universe just hasn't always existed in some form or another. Um, I haven't seen any good evidence that the universe ever went from not existing to existing. So no, I don't really ascribe to creationism. Do you believe in an afterlife as energy, physics, something? No, I think that the energy in your body is like I look at like the most physical possible definition of the word energy, right? It's like kinetic, electromagnetic, electric, chemical, potential, chemical. I already said that. Thermal, forgot that one. The other types of energy that your body gives off and uses. I wouldn't call it you though. I would just say that's just like your what your body uses in order to function, right? And what your body gives off by way of its function. So, in that regard, does it technically go back into potential energy? And when you like worms eat your body, do they, uh, use your cells as fuel that they use for their body processes? Sure, but I wouldn't call that an afterlife at all. Do I wipe? What kind of question is that, man? Of course I don't. You got another true concept of God. It's not the Trinity. I mean, I don't take that up with the other people that believe in the Trinity. Don't take it up with me. You're home alone taking a dump and you hear someone. Oh, I didn't see the whole question. You're home alone taking a dump and you hear someone breaking in. Do you wipe? Oh no, I don't wipe. No, I don't wipe. My bathroom's pretty close to my room, and in my closet I have something that can deal with people breaking into my house. So no, I'm not gonna go through the trouble of wasting more time instead of defending my house, right? What if the core truth you were seeking in Christianity wasn't wrong, but the way it was framed was? The way would have to be like, you could say that, sure, but until there's a reliable mode of figuring out what in particular in the Bible is framed wrong and what isn't, then I'm thinking I'm at least safe in saying that all of it's tainted, right? Time for me to get some rest or I can convert you to Jungkookian, but I'll try another day. You never will, but have a good rest of your night, High Inquisitor. Thank you for being here. What's your opinion about Buddhism? They make supernatural claims, but so it's not for me, but I feel like the doctrine itself is pretty chill. It has good stuff there for sure. You feel bad for me? Appreciate your opinion. What do you think about faith healings? There's YouTubers like Nicholas Bolin had a bunch of no strings healings on camera that would be considered evidence. If it's a YouTuber, I'll be honest with you, as somebody who makes very, very, very little money from this, and so I'd imagine like I'd make a lot more if I had like similar numbers to the people that you're getting these videos from. If you have metric, what's the word I'm looking for? Incentive, metric incentive to lie or financial incentive to lie, then I'm pretty safe in saying they might just be lying about it. Do you think they'll ever find a cloven animal that does not chew its cud? I don't think they will. No. Can y'all hear me? Probably. I don't know. Cringe to hear an adult claim atheism. I appreciate your opinion. The amount of lies is insane. I'm not like, what lies am I telling? No. Oh shoot. Why is this frozen? Why is this frozen? Do I restart here? I might restart. Why are people acting like atheists are the bane of humankind, saying someone is worse because of what they believe is exactly what God doesn't want? To be honest, most people don't even care about what their God wants or doesn't, right? Um, most of the people here who call themselves Christians and want to antagonize me, I can promise you have not read the Bible all the way through.
Do you think it's possible for science to make us so we live forever? Or at least long enough to not die of causes like cancer, bad illness, etc., and only occur due to like accidental causes?
Random user, I sincerely appreciate the dollar. Thank you so much. Do I think it's possible for science to make us immortal? I don't think so. I feel like the mere, what's the word I'm looking for? Homeostasis, right? To maintain homeostasis would have to complete like wear down on our body systems in a way that can't possibly be repaired enough for us to be truly immortal. Um, Nor do I think consciousnesses can be replicated well enough for us to like be functionally immortal by having like our thoughts or our brain patterns or all that good stuff transferred out either. So no, I don't think we'll ever be immortal because of science, unfortunately. But who's to say? But yeah, appreciate the dollar. Thank you so much. Nothing will separate you from his love. That sounds like a threat. You need education, lol. Here, just as an aside, really quickly, if you want to say something antagonistic to somebody on the internet, you don't have to put lol with it. It just makes you look insecure. Just be like the people in chat that are calling me all these bad names and shit. Show me the love of God. That just say the thing without having to try to diffuse it with an lol or be like, haha, I'm so cool. I like what I'm saying, right? Just say the bad thing and call it a day. Is homeostasis the other word for gay? No. Did Jesus exist? Sure, why not? If you don't like God, why talk about him? So I'm host these streams and make these videos to offer a look into an atheist and ex-Christian perspective, to encourage critical thinking, to learn new things, to provide an opportunity to engage fairly and honestly with someone with a different worldview, and to have a bit of fun along the way. That's why I do this. You know, a lack of belief in the thing doesn't constitute me never talking about the thing. The same way that people can have comic book channels while knowing that they're fiction.
What do you think of Shintoism?
Maxophobia, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. What do I think of Shintoism? To be completely honest, I don't know too much about it. I know it's deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. I know a little bit about Amaterasu, but I don't know enough about the lore or the claims of Shinto, of the Shinto faith, for me to give an honest opinion about his claim. So sorry that's unsatisfactory, but I try my best not to talk on a mask, you know. But yeah, I sincerely appreciate the $1.99. Thank you so much. Do I believe Paul existed? I'm a little bit more shaky about Paul. Did Jesus do supernatural things? No. People saying God is real doesn't prove anything. Yeah, I think they're just responding to the title. It's fine. Do you find yourself to be amongst the prophesied mockers and a backslider? I don't think it's a prophecy to say that there will be mockers or backsliders, right? I feel like that's a Barnum statement. It's just like a psychic on the street saying, there is someone that you've been thinking about recently. They've been on your mind. And you worry for them sometimes. Like, that's a Barnum statement that applies to most people. So just saying, oh, people will stop believing this book to be true as proof of the book, I'm not seeing the prophecy there. You can do that with any religion, and I can promise you, like, it'll be the same epistemologically speaking. Do you know God can save good atheists? That's good for him, right? He doesn't want to answer the hard questions. There's 159 people in here, so I flesh out my answers. I try not to just give one word responses. I feel like that wouldn't be fun to watch. I try not to be monosyllabic. So if you think I'm avoiding you, even though I don't know you and couldn't give a shit about you, just because you're having, oh, he's got the hard question. Oh, he's got the too good of a question. Oh, goodness, I'm going to avoid this guy. Then you're a self-centered piece of shit, right? Last question, I'm done for tonight, and this is not me pushing my beliefs. So do you think it's better to die thinking there's an afterlife and die thinking there's nothing? I can't speak for anybody on that, right? For me personally, I feel like I've rejected the idea of eternity so much that an eternal anything sounds awful. Or, you know, so for me, that doesn't work for me, right? Wait 1 second.
As an atheist, how do you feel about family deaths, attending funerals, cemeteries, etc.?
I'll answer you in a second, Uriak. I'll be right to you. So it just depends on the person. For me, I'll take like being the god of my own universe or being like the controller of my own universe over nothing. I'll take nothing over existing eternally as like just praising God, but I'll take that over eternal suffering. So it just depends on the person, right? Ariok, thank you so much for the $5. Family deaths, funerals, cemeteries. I'll go one by one. Why not? Family deaths are sad. I haven't had a family death recently, but I have had a friend's death recently. He killed himself, and that sucks. You know, it's for me. I've internalized the lack of an afterlife so much that for me, I'm never getting that person back. It's just over with. I now live in a world without them. It's sad. It's really sad. I'd say even sadder than it was as a Christian, but you know, it's just what I'm most convinced of. So it's gotta kind of what I have to like. I wouldn't say suck up, but kind of have to get comfortable with, right? Attending funerals. I've attended a few funerals. I don't know. I don't really like funerals too much. Wait 1 second.
What happens more often during these streams? Christians insulting/ridiculing you for dropping their beliefs or being respectful about your choice?
I'll be right with you, Draco. Just give me a quick second. Funerals, I'm not really super duper into funerals. Primarily because a lot of the funerals I go to now are just like long sermons, basically. And even then, like, find it kind of strange to sit and cry around a box or touch a dead body. I feel like that's kind of, you know, weird when you really, really think about it. And cemeteries, just not economically, ecologically speaking, I feel like we can probably do something better than like taking up a bunch of space to put a bunch of people underground and to rotting away in a box. I hope that answers the question sufficiently, but sincerely appreciate the $5. And also, Draco99, thank you for the $5 super chat as well. What happens more often during these streams? Christians insulting / ridiculing you for dropping their beliefs or being disrespectful about your choice. I guess, no, being respectful about your choice. More often than not, I don't know. Maybe it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's just like confirmation bias or something, but more often than not, I feel like I'm really getting the more disrespectful types, the more, the quote unquote Christian love types for sure, that try to invalidate me, be obtuse, be ignorant, be intentionally ignorant, be dishonest, fear monger, things like that. That's what seems to be more often than not the case, unfortunately. But that being said, I'm not going to act like, oh, it's all bad, all Christians are bad. I've met plenty of awesome Christians doing this, or many awesome theists in general, or believers in general. But yeah, more often than not, it seems like people don't like what I have to say, and that's kind of sad. That's kind of why I do this, though, so that we don't automatically come from this position of, oh, he's an atheist or they're an atheist, so therefore they're just this bad person I'm fully justified in being a piece of shit to. But yeah, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And Ariok Stomp, thank you for the $5 super chat as well. I sincerely appreciate it. All right, let me get you out of here. Hi, user on channel. You're never coming back. Skadoosh. 1 out of 10. How black are you? 5 out of 10. I'm half black. Both my grandparents, not grandparents, both my granddads were black. My dad's mom was white, and my mom's mom was native.
Is purpose placating self with vacant desire? Thoughts on the casket/death industry?
All right, I'll get to these one by one. Aaron, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Is purpose placating self with vacant desire? I feel like ultimately, yes. I don't feel like there's an objective purpose for us to appeal to, or at the very least that we can substantiate. I don't believe in such a thing personally. I feel like one's purpose that they define for themselves is ultimately going to be what they value the most. Or at the very least, that's what happened with me. Like for me, I define my purpose to be one where I experience the things that I'm most interested in experiencing, and also where I how do I best say this? Like make the lives of the people around me as easy as possible. Because these are the two things I try to value above everything else. And so ultimately, I feel like people who maybe don't want to think for themselves, or maybe don't want to be their own agent, have a little bit less of an issue tossing up their purpose to something like a religion, or letting somebody else define it for them, if that answers your question. I appreciate the $2 super chat, and also Draco99. Thank you for the $2 super chat as well. Thoughts on the casket/death industry? I don't know. Overall, I'd say like maybe slightly more negative than positive. I don't know. I feel like if we have the capacity to just burn our dead and release the ashes back to the loved ones if they want them, or do literally anything with the ashes, then that's going to be the more ecological option. It's going to save space. We're not just going to put nice metals and dyes and formaldehyde and shit under the ground. Not waste good clothes. Yeah, overall, it's not really a huge fan of it. Daniel, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. To conclude, yeah, personally, I don't want to be buried. I just want to be put in an oven and scattered like seasoning salt. Do you get harassed, or have you lost any friends/family because you're atheist? Sorry if this is a rude question. No, it's a perfectly valid question. I appreciate it. Do I get harassed? Doing this, absolutely. Admittedly, when I didn't talk about this, there was little in the way of harassment, more in the way of like people in my real life find out I'm an atheist and like try to convert me or something. I wouldn't call that harassment though. They kind of saw me as a project, which kind of leads into me answering the second part of the question. Have I lost friends and family doing this? Absolutely, I have. Haven't lost family, but I've lost friends doing this for sure, because they let me know pretty apparently that they just saw me as like a soul to save, or a debate to win, or a a person who disagrees with them to antagonize, and so obviously that's not conducive to a good friendship. So unfortunately, yeah, I've lost some friends doing this. Do you have a job? Yeah, I have a job. I do remote customer service for an accounting software. I'll leave it at that. Um, yeah, it should be a dead giveaway which accounting software, but if you quite literally look up, I want to look up accounting software right now and see if it's the first one that pops up. Wait, accounting softwares. Uh, okay, yeah, it's like one of the top ones, so that should be a dead giveaway which one I work for. It's like a super popular one, but yeah, I do customer service for them. Credibility and accountability is what the religious people are allergic to. In my experience, that's definitely been the case for sure. So
Hope you have a good day/night. Sleep time for me.
you didn't have to send $2 to say that, but yeah, thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate the super chats, and hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much for supporting the stream for sure. Appreciate you have a great sleep, and also Legend Killer Justin, thank you for subscribing as well. Appreciate it. What do you think the meaning of life is? I don't think there's an objective meaning to life. I feel like it's only up to us as individuals to figure out what our life means and what the purpose of it is. I don't think it's up to me to tell anybody else that. And conversely, it's not up to any of you guys to tell me what mine is or to tell each other what anyone else's is. You're the agent. You have the thoughts. You live the life. So you define it. You're the pilot of your own plane, basically. What's up, Bentley? What's up, Fatima? It's good to see you. Jesus was a real, God is real. I agree with that Jesus was real. I don't agree with God is real, and nor do I agree with the idea that Jesus is God. If morality isn't from God, why does some moral truth still feel absolutely binding, like that torturing a child is always wrong? Because of your empathy, right? Evolutionarily speaking, we're going to select for empathy in that if we're a social species, we're going to make sure that we want to select for traits that would allow us to best protect each other from outside like predators and stuff. Back when we lived more tribalistically and also want to ensure the survival of our offspring. So that's why we have these moral truths or these moral absolute moral we tend to, I say tend to because I feel like it's kind of an instant defeater to the fact that there do exist bad people out there that do these things and don't have this empathy with them, but just mentally ill in that regard. But in general, the normal person could think these are wrong because evolution, basically. But if we're going to try to toss it up to a god, we have to make sure that it's not a god that commanded infanticide like the God of the Bible did in 1 Samuel chapter 15 verses 2 and 3. Gus 310, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Do I believe in spiritual experiences? Not personally. I feel like the people who claim spiritual experiences are sometimes lying. For the most part, I'll always say they're telling the truth, though, but I'll just toss it up to them, either hallucinating or feeling good things, or having some other natural experience and then like falsely attributing it to something that's supernatural. Do you have any regrets for making this page? No, I feel like I'm moving in a good direction, right? Ultimately, I want to learn and teach more about the world's religions, the difference in them, and things like that. And so, do I deal with a lot of people that harass me? Absolutely. Do I deal with a lot of people who antagonize me? Absolutely. Have I gotten death threats doing this? Absolutely. Do I get hell threats literally every single time I go live? Absolutely. But is it worth it if I'm ultimately moving toward my goal of teaching, of like highlighting the differences in world religions and things like that? I feel like it's all worth it. Experiencing negative emotion / hallucination / deja vu does not equal anything to do with God or the devil. Exactly. What about Abraham? What about him? There's good and evil in this world. That doesn't mean there's a God and there's a devil. There you go, right? What about the Catholic Church legalizing child marriage? Just so try to explain how that's God's plan. Hey, fantastic question. I even got one for the Muslims too while we're on the subject. Iraq just legalized not that long ago child marriage. People as young as 9 years old being able to be married off to adults due to what's not Saronic doctrine. So is that good? Is that the arbiter of our morality here? Thoughts on astrology? I think it's fake. I think it's baloney, garbanzo beans, personally. What would happen if you saw the prophecies of the Bible come true? It would give more credence to the idea of the Bible being true. Like if there was a mark that people took and they happened to have like ugly sores break out on their face, and then all of a sudden the ocean started turning into blood, and then the rivers started turning into blood, and then the sun just for some odd reason got really, really hot and started scorching everything on fire. That'd be kind of convincing for sure.
Do you ever wonder why guilt and hunger feel the same? Could righteousness be as essential to our soul as food is to our body?
Thank you for the $5 super chat, Aaron. Do I ever wonder why guilt and hunger feel the same? No, I never thought about it like that. I would say for a lot of different people, they don't always feel the same. I'd say they're both negative emotions. One's more of like a heart dropping, like at least in my experience, like when I feel guilty, it's more like a heart dropping feeling, sort of like hot, kind of like literally temperately hot sort of deal. And hunger obviously feels like hunger, right? It's just like stomach kind of hurts, grumbling, all that good shit. But let's assume for a second that they do feel exactly the same. Let's just pretend that people don't feel these things differently and that they do feel the same for everybody. I wouldn't personally see the link between these two things having the same physical sensation, with there being um, some soul that's being deprived of something that caused it to be guilty, especially considering that people feel guilty for a litany of different reasons and not always for righteous reasons, right? Like, for instance, if somebody cheats on somebody else, like their wife or something, and they get caught and they feel guilty about it, it's not that their soul is being deprived of its quote unquote food per se, but rather that um, there's a hiccup in their life caused by their actions, whether or not they feel ultimately like their actions were bad or not. So yeah, just on two different fronts, I don't really I can't really chew on that, but I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Do you know the most famous atheist believed in God in his later years? What's your stats on that? DNA equals IQ. Can't do better even if you try really hard. Cheers for this channel. Really cool. Appreciate the kind words. Thanks. I'll pray for you. Okay, go for it. Suicide doesn't make someone morally wrong. It means they were suffering and needed help. Somebody trying to say a suicide is like a moral failure? If so, point me in their direction.
How long have you been atheist? Are you out to everyone as an atheist, or do you sometimes find it's easier to lie in certain social situations?
Thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Ariok. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I've been an atheist for 10 years. Am I out to everyone as an atheist? Everyone that asks, yeah, I'm honest about it nowadays. Back when I was first deconstructing, like, primarily I used to lie about it because I didn't want to believe it or didn't want to call myself an atheist yet, like really, really close to my deconstruction. Um, but nowadays, like I'm cool with myself. So it's like if somebody cares that much, I'll just tell them. Or if they ask about it, if we talk about religion in a real world setting, I'll gladly say I was an atheist, right? Um, do I find it easier to lie in certain social situations? I tend not to. For me, it just depends on the situation. Like pretty often with my job, like surprisingly often, I'll get customers who call about an issue. They might own a church or be a pastor at a church or be a treasurer at a church or something, and we'll get done with their issue with their account on. I almost said the name of the software, but you'll think it's pretty popular software, the one that starts with a Q. But anyway, I will we'll get done with their issue, and then they'll be like, do you mind if I pray for you or something? The like I'm not telling them I'm an atheist, but I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I don't mind, yeah, why not, right? As long as it gets me that 10 at the end of the call. Yeah, it just depends on the situation. I haven't really been in a situation so far where I felt pressure to lie about my beliefs, though. If that answers the question. But yeah, appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. When we eventually die, what do you expect? I expect us to not experience anything like before we were born, basically, just in the ground, in the dirt, no us whatsoever before we were born, no ability to experience things whatsoever. I think that's just kind of it for you. Melons or peach? Oh man. Honestly, both. They're really. I just all of it. Honestly, yeah. Um, I guess maybe technically peach because like if somebody had like no melons but they had a nice peach, like that would still look fantastic, obviously, right? But they had like nice big melon, right? But then like no peach whatsoever, and they were like shaped like the letter P. I'm not gonna sit here and body shame or anything, but it's like one of these is preferable to the other, in my opinion. So I guess technically, like one doesn't hurt your overall look as much as the other one does. So I guess technically that regard, but I don't know. If you're like in the intimate setting though, like the melons
Please
are
consider cemeteries important for history.
the melons are more important, like more fun to play with. So I don't know, even honestly. Chaos Reality, thank you for the $2 super chat. Please consider cemeteries important for history. I don't know. I feel like that places a little bit too much like importance on the existence of people, and I feel like it's kind of fucked up to say, but I don't know. Like, is the taking up extra space and digging constant holes and putting foreign objects in the ground, is that worth the history or the ability for somebody to go to a place and honor their loved one instead of just having the remains of their loved one with them? Does it offset it? Personally, I don't know. I feel cemeteries and like the headstones and epithets and stuff are beautiful, obviously, but I don't know. I really try to think about it from an ecological standpoint, or like like an environmental standpoint. You sound cute. Well, thank you, Asper. You have a cute name. You have a cute name. What does no one else talk about the prophets, bro? What about the prophets? How many people here think the Earth is flat? Hopefully nobody. A flat Earth is so indefensible. It's not even funny. You're built like a capital H. How the fuck would you even be built like a capital H? Uh, Jesus wasn't God. I agree. Bentley, how you doing today? Good to see you again. What if you don't believe fully in science or God? I don't feel like there's a good reason to reject science, right? Because they're able to show their work. And belief or acceptance of scientific facts doesn't constitute a religious belief at all. Like, especially demonstrable by the fact that people can believe in both and do believe in both. So I mean, if you don't fully accept either, I mean, yeah, whatever convinces you for sure. But I just don't feel like there's a good reason to reject science, even if, because it's not incongruent with religion per se, unless you're like fundamentalist about it. If you've abandoned religious belief, what framework do you now use to confront chaos, suffering, and the need for meaning? And are you sure it's enough? Since you asked me that question, I'm going to assume that you mean like in my personal life. I'll go one by one. Chaos, that kind of goes hand in hand with suffering, like negativity in general, negative things. I don't know, it just depends on the negative thing. I have different answers for different negative things, like how do I deal with death versus how do I deal with disappointment versus how do I deal with unrequited love or like a breakup or something like that. So it really just depends on the thing. The need for meaning, I feel like for me personally, like my acknowledgement of myself as an agent, as a person who's like piloting his own, like the plane of his own life, is more than sufficient for you know, establishing meaning and purpose in my life for sure. Do I feel like all of these are sufficient? Personally, yeah. No money, you're just not smart, dude. I don't know how to tell you this in a kind way. Me? Oh, well, oh, oh, oh no. Somebody said I'm not smart. Oh gosh, whatever will I do? Uh, or you're talking to, I might be talking to somebody else. Through billions of years of evolution, out of the 6,000 this Earth have existed. Right, must be talking to somebody else, or I don't know. Oh, we evolved from this almost rodent-like thing. I think can't remember what it's called. Um, way. I don't know. There's a lot of different common ancestors we have. You are a disappointment. I appreciate the opinion. Thank you. I believe moral relativism is absurd. Morality is objective, so it must be grounded in something like moral law. If there's moral law, this must be a moral lawgiver. I'm going to disprove the idea. If you're a Christian, I'm going to disprove moral law literally right now. I find infanticide to be absolutely abhorrent and never ever permissible. Um, I ground this secularly in the idea that I have empathy and that we shouldn't just go around, harming the most vulnerable within our societies. Evolutionarily speaking, that's, I have good reason for believing that. But let's say hypothetically, I grounded this in the Christian God, right? The Christian God commanded infanticide in 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 2 and 3. He told Saul, I believe. No, was it Saul? Samuel. He told Samuel to tell King Saul to murder the Amalekites, all that they have, all their men and women, toddlers and infants, transportation animals and food animals. I think that's pretty awful. The God of the Bible is somebody that I morally disagree with about a lot of different positions, like slavery, like sexual assault, like infanticide, like genocide. So, the Christian God in particular possibly cannot possibly be the reason that I have the moral convictions that I do. If you want to argue even a monotheistic God at all, like whether or not you're a deist or something, like that doesn't give a good reason for why people have genuinely different moral convictions. Like if somebody doesn't have empathy and isn't convinced of the same moral ideas that I am, then you'd have to explain like why the one God that exists didn't make them the same way he created everybody else. And I don't think you'd be able to do that. So no, I wish we would maybe stop trying to use our preferred religion to take credit for people's moral convictions and moral intuitions. I feel like that's really, really horrifically dishonest, awfully dishonest. Sorry to tell you this, but you've been lied to your whole life. Me? Me? So say hypothetically if you had a dad. Okay, now what? Everyone that says there's no tooth fairy is a yeah. Um Also, what's up, God equals? Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, I know the Bible says only a fool says in his heart there's no God. Like, oh, Bible says thing, right? But one of us doesn't believe in a book with talking animals in it. The other does. Who's really the foolish one? I don't know. His dad doesn't exist, just like he thinks God doesn't exist. I've met my dad. Met my dad though. I've met him, talked to him. Just logically speaking, even if I've never met him, I am a Homo sapien. Homo sapiens produce sexually. They require not hormones, male DNA and like male chromosomes and female chromosomes, which is only possible if I have somebody that introduced a male chromosome to the female chromosomes in my mom, meaning logically I have a dad. So I can both evidentially substantiate me having a dad and also logically substantiate me having a dad. So, um, yeah, you can't possibly do either for God. So that's a complete non-starter of an argument. Bro said, if evolution is real, why don't dogs fucking talk? I don't even know where to go with that one. I don't even know where to go with that one. All right, I'm gonna take a sip real quick. Let's loosen up a little bit. Fuck it, it's Friday. Well, Saturday now. It's the good stuff. You might be short-sighting yourself, bro. Don't call me your bro if you're gonna come in and say antagonistic shit, right? But even beside the point, no, I'm not gonna accept that I'm short-sighted myself just because you find a moral disagreement, like more not moral, but a religious disagreement with me. If I were to take everything that you people said at face value, I'd have to believe a lot of awful things about myself. I'd have to always be in a constant wild goose chase, always in a moral wild goose chase, always in a logical wild goose chase. Y'all would lead me on the path of retardation for literally the entire rest of my life if you could, just because I don't agree with the same things that you do religiously. So no, I'm not short-sighted myself. I've accept the things that I accept because I've done more than enough looking into them. Am I absolutely wrong about it? I mean, who's to say, right? Always check yourself, but you don't know me from a can of paint, so no, I'm not gonna trust that you are know me enough to say that I'm short-sighting myself or whatever antagonistic bullshit y'all can say just because like you don't like what I have to say. So I don't know what to tell you. What drink is it, bro? It is what flavor is this? Smirnoff grape. Smirnoff grape. Thoughts on chaos and complex systems as in scientific concepts and emergent intelligence. Chaos and complex systems. For me, chaos is an unsubstantiated idea. Same way that order is. Um, unless you want to appeal to like maybe some sort of objective standard within the universe, like order allows for human life. Chaos doesn't allow for human life. I feel like that's a little self-centered. But beside the point, ultimately speaking, there's no other universe to compare ours to for to determine what order looks like or what chaos looks like. We just have the one to work with. So I don't ascribe to the idea of chaos personally or order, at least ultimately speaking. Complex systems, I'm not sure what thoughts to give about them. Honestly, you can like elaborate on that if you want to. In emergent intelligence, I do believe in emergent intelligence. I feel like intelligence, consciousness, thoughts, all these things are just an emergent property of a brain that works, you know? A bit silly. Is there any reason for the sunset background? I just like it. You know, it looks cool. Orange is my favorite color. Um, so you know, I just want some kind of orange, kind of nice to look at. I'm gonna rotate it out soon, just because I like, you know, having different backgrounds up. But yeah, it just looks nice. That's why I put it up there. It's called the theory of evolution because it's a theory. It's a scientific theory, which is not the same as a colloquial theory. These are two entirely different things. A scientific theory is a body of facts about a given phenomenon. Um, you know, we know for a fact, or at the very least, we have all the evidence, mountains of it, that evolution is something that occurs and that continues to occur and that has occurred. And the collection of the facts that talk about this particular set of biology is the theory of evolution. Um, the same way that there's a germ theory, which confirms, you know, talks about like how pathogens work and things. Atomic theory talking about atoms, and gravity, the theory of gravity, talking about gravitational forces and how they work. So I don't know why Christians or theists in general, I won't say Christians, but theists in general have an issue accepting, like, firstly, like, let's learn what a scientific theory is, right? But even beside that, I don't see why they have an issue accepting things like germs, gravity, um, atoms, and things like that, but then ignoring things that go and fly in the face of their biblical fundamentalism, like evolution and the Big Bang. Where'd you get this in the Jesus carrying a cross backgrounds? Shh, there is no Jesus carrying a cross background. That's not something I have. Wink, wink. No, but I got them off of Google. I think just off of Giphy. I searched like lake, relaxing lake GIF, and this was one of the ones that came up. For the Jesus one, same deal. It's just you know, Jesus walking background, and it's got the one that looked the best. You alone in the universe that, what are you talking about, Alex? What are you going at? Do you want me to name some Christian name or something? What do you mean? Religion's only proof is a feeling, not enough. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like for such extraordinary claims there should be extraordinary evidence, but sure enough there isn't. How do you stream all the time? How long have you going to milk the fact you're atheist now? I'm going to milk the fact that I'm an atheist until I get as many people as reasonably possible to maybe think differently about how they apply their religious beliefs to the world around them, how they're how much they're willing to condemn people around them because of their religious beliefs, how much they're willing to condemn non-believers and gay people and trans people for just because their beliefs tell them to, or you know, because they want to use their beliefs as kind of like a a scapegoat for why they think these things. And until people can have a better understanding of the religious claims of the world around them, that's how long I'll keep quote unquote milking that I'm an atheist until I feel like I've done my job. So, wish humans are able to comprehend our true beginning, it'd be so mind blowing, I'm sure. Oh, I bet it would be. Why should I not steal if I can get away with it and not feel bad? I mean, theft is a quite a different. I don't know. Like, I'll be honest with you. If I'm at the self checkout line at Walmart, if I gotta check my own shit out, I'm giving myself a tip. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is that bag of Glacier Ranch tortilla chips getting scanned? Probably not. Right. Is that pack of ground beef getting scanned? Maybe there's a Kool-Aid packet in front of the barcode. So it's probably not. If we're going to try to argue for objective morality and like ignore all the other points I made just because we want to keep up this Cliff Nectal apologetics point, maybe theft isn't the way to get there. But to answer the question directly, theft is selected against because when we were more tribalistic in our societal structures, theft meant that resources were more scarce for the community around us, meaning more people starve or more people go hungry. And so we have to discourage theft and, evolutionarily speaking, not select for wanting to steal from one another. How old are you? I'm 29 years old. I'm not going to feel bad for taking them from a bazillion dollars corporation that leaches resources and sells them at a crazy markup. Yeah, exactly. I forget which. No, it's Kellogg's. They were boycotting Kellogg's. I think it was a couple of years ago or a year ago. I don't know. Time just flies by now. But Kellogg's sales were at an all-time low, and then people, retailers like Walmart and all these different places were selling these boxes for like dirt cheap. And I'd imagine they were still making a profit off of it because just from the sheer amount of money that they mark them up for, it's just insane. Have a nice weekend. Love the channel. It's been a long time since a cultural one. Cheers. Have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you.
Can the pride behind self-seeking become self-consuming? Why do we seek at all? Spiders spin webs, roosters crow. We seek purpose in shifting sand, though.
Thank you so much for the $5 again, Aaron. I sincerely appreciate it. I don't know if I would call the pursuit of purpose or, like the pursuit of meaning, basically, or, like to address you directly, the pursuit of purpose. I don't know if I would call that something as physiologically intuitive as spiders spinning webs for food or roosters crowing for, I don't know. Why do they crow again? Like coo again? Like communication, maybe, possibly. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't hold these on the same standard personally. Like, why do we seek purpose? I don't know. I feel like it's a philosophical thing to ponder that I'm just don't have the answer to, and I don't feel like it's something that could possibly be answered. What's that green box? Somebody very generously sent a $5 super chat. Also, again, Aaron, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Yeah, that's what the green box is. Somebody, supported the stream like a boss. Hell yeah. All right, I'm gonna get you out of here real quick. You have nothing. I'm gonna get you out literally forever. You don't have anything to add to my life. Just bye. Skadoosh, 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 skadoosh. Take care. You have nothing to add to my life whatsoever. Just have a good rest of your life. The only one that's going to be cooking is you in hell, and I hope I change your mind. And I hope you change your mind. Yeah, the rest of y'all who aren't Christian in here, pay attention to what this guy said. This is the way to win souls, is to try to use a horrific doctrine to condescend to somebody that they're going to burn in hell for all of eternity. Just let's look at the Christian love in the chat really quickly. Douche. Have you watched Bleach? I used to watch Bleach. I watched it up until just past the Arrancar arc, and I kind of stopped there. Proof hell exists? Hell does not exist. Hell is some made up bullshit stupidity. But yeah, I used to watch Bleach. I used to love Bleach. Back when I was like a teenager. I used to have a really big, like a one of those kind of cringy real person crushing on a fictional character type of crushes on Orihime. It might have just been the chess cannon she had, though. I don't know. How tragic. I should probably stop drinking. How tragic you left Jesus and now have nothing worth having. I have plenty worth having, right? I got stuff, things, right? But no, me leaving one particular religious doctrine doesn't constitute me having an empty life just because you prefer it to be that way. I wonder what Sparrow saw in Parrots. Parrots. I really should stop drinking. Wonder what Sparrow saw in Pirates of the Caribbean. I haven't seen that movie in so long. Thoughts on miracles and coincidence like witnessing beauty, like shooting stars and meeting old friends in odd places. I feel like if it's mathematically possible for things like that to happen, then it's gonna mathematically happen eventually, or at the very least, like it's not something so impossible that the fact that it happened appeals to something higher. I feel like it's serendipitous, whimsical, even, right? Pretty cool, right? But ultimately, I don't think there's anything miraculous about it. Why aren't you on TikTok? Because my internet's shitting the bed. My upload speed is like 3 megabits. Like, what the fuck is that? Hello? I don't know how the fuck I'm even streaming on YouTube right now. Um, yeah, it's so I couldn't possibly stream the two different platforms at once. But what's up, Jesse? Good to see you. How's your day going? Uh, how long ago did you revert to atheism? I stopped believing in God 10 years ago, back in 2015. Ronaldo or Messi? Oh wait, no. Do I have to hide you on the channel? Are we gonna spam again today, Sakagar? I don't know. But anyway, I stopped believing in God 10 years ago, 2015 when I was 19 years old. Your B is a bitch. What? Thank you and have a good night, brother. You have a good rest of your night too. Oh goodness. Halo Sejan 117360 no scope. Have a good rest of your night. We'll have to have an in-depth discussion with you. You come out as very level-headed and intelligent. I used to be an atheist at one time and changed my mind. Hard to have a convo in chat though. You can join my Discord if you want to. If you're over the age of 18, only if you're over the age of 18, or you can add me on Snapchat. Only if you're only over the age of 18. If you're not over the age of 18, don't join my Discord. Don't add me on Snapchat. But anybody that wants to, I'll fuck it. Let's sell out really quickly. If you haven't already, you want to keep up with future streams and videos, subscribe. Why not? Subscribe on YouTube. Follow the Twitch. Follow the TikToks, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Kick, the Trovo. All of those things I'm going to stream on when I get my Streamlabs shit figured out. Clapper, TikTok Alternative, Lemonade, right? Blue Sky, Threads, Xiaohongshu. Follow me on all those things, right? Why not? If you have the things, why not? Join my Discord only if you're over 18. I don't want kids in my Discord. I don't want minors in my Discord. Stay out of my Discord if you're under 18. If you're over 18, now join my Discord. That's where I hang out off stream. Or add me on Snapchat if you want to talk in private. Shit, what else? I don't know, but all the support stuff is in there too. But yeah, just do exclamation links in chat or exclamation literally like any of the things I just mentioned, and you will find my stuff. You will find my stuff. Zhou Hong Shu, yeah. Red Note, dude. Love me some China. Love China. Woman, she. Let me stop. What caused you to convert personally? It was because, all right, let me get you out of here literally forever. High user on channel. Never, ever coming back. Don't you ever come back to my channel ever again. Get the fuck out. What caused you to convert personally? It was because it clashed with my personal identity. How about you? For me, it was just to go over the whole story like as quickly as I possibly could. Reading the Bible, seeing that the God of the Bible didn't meet the moral standards that I had set for him before I read the Bible, obviously. Looking into apologetics, getting the sense that I was being told intellectually dishonest answers to my questions, And then after that, I looked at the evidence of all of it being real in the first place and found none of that convincing. Looked at the logical arguments, they all failed. Um, Looked at the historical evidence, it all failed. Looked at the archaeological evidence, it all failed. Um, Prayed to God, he didn't answer. So all of it failed. So I was like, okay, well, I've been lied to. I've tried my best to believe it. I gave it a good shake, a fair shake. But I have no choice but to do the honest thing and realize that there's no good reason to believe in this. So that's why I left. But yeah, appreciate the question. Claritza Mariana, are you Filipino? You Filipino? Got a lot of Filipinos in here. If you're from the Philippines, W. I hope to move to the country eventually. Better weather, better people, better prices, Papa John's. Who's around you? Nobody's around me. I'm alone in my house right now. Well, besides a cat, but there's two souls in my house right now. Before anybody says it, I'm using souls as a conversational device. I don't believe in souls. If you don't mind me asking, what denomination of Christianity were you? I was Baptist until I was 16, and then I was in the Apostolic Church until I was 18. After that, I left. I didn't, I left the church, but I didn't leave the religion until like a year and a half later. But for me, I didn't want to be in the church when I was questioning things. I felt like that would have been blasphemous and disrespectful. What's the discrepancy in God's character that made you feel Christianity was deficient? I'm not going to go over it really because what Christians have made it very apparent to me that they'll do is that they just want to apply apologetics to it. And they seem to be under this weird conviction that if they figure out what initially caused me to walk away, or not walk away per se, but it initially caused me to like start thinking of things differently. If they just fix that, then all of a sudden I'll be a Christian again. And I just want to save us both the time and just not answer it. Do you believe the universe came from nothing or universe came by chance? I think the universe has always existed. Third option. Your takes are pretty neat. Oh, thank you. Good luck on your future endeavors, kind stranger. You have a good rest of your life. I don't know if I'll ever see you again, but yeah, have a good rest of yours too. I appreciate you being here. How do you think wind is formed? There's a scientific explanation for wind, right? So, what's up, Jason? Good to see you.
What a 3VWSDUSTLL hold from WHNU Re 19.
Why did that? Oh, well, spelled kind of odd, so that's why they read it like that. Aaron, thank you for the $2 super chat. What other views do you still hold from when you were 19? Oh man, I don't know. That's a very, 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 very good question. I don't know. Probably some political views I still hold. I mean, I've gotten more left since leaving, but I was definitely leaning left anyway before I left. Right? No pun intended. So probably some of my political views for sure. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like I'd have to be really particular about it. I'd have to hear, like, do I still feel the same about this particular issue, that particular issue, that particular issue, rather than just like comb over all of my different philosophical beliefs or convictions back when I was 19 versus where I am now, Why not read the Bible? I've read the Bible twice. Reading the Bible is what started me deconstructing. And just last year, I did a read through of the Bible just for education's sake. So yeah, I've read the Bible. I'm not just out here rejecting the Bible simply because I haven't read it. Right? That would be. I don't feel like that would be doing things due diligence. Get back to Jesus, my friend. Get right before you get left. Like, okay, thanks. Do you feel like you don't want to go to church anymore, or do you want to believe in God? Wait 1 second.
Have you read The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins?
I'll answer you in a quick second. Do you feel like you didn't want to go to church or you didn't want to believe in God? Both, right? I stopped going to church when I started questioning things because I was like, I don't want to be in quote unquote God's house while I'm questioning whether or not God exists or whether or not God's a good being, right? So, that came first, like me leaving the church, and then me leaving the idea of God existing altogether came after that. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat, Ariok. Have you read The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins? I have not read The God Delusion. For me personally, I wanted my religious walk, as it were, to be so personal that I didn't want to insert anybody else into it after a while. I didn't want to I didn't want some smart atheist telling me why I shouldn't believe in God. I didn't want some apologist telling me why I should. I was just like, okay, let me look at what they have to offer as far as why it's real, and let me see what I think about it. And I went from there, but no, I never read The God Delusion. I probably will eventually, but no, it's that wasn't part of the reason I left personally. Can you explain how your view the universe eternally existed? I think that the matter and energy and the space that makes up the universe has always existed. And I feel like the universe is in an eternal cycle of expanding. Once it gets too small for energy to all the universe's energy to be in one place, or all of the matter to condense into one, place basically, and at which point it contracts and maybe dark energy causes it to recontract. Well, until it expands, and then like maybe dark energy after a while causes it to recontract, and it's like an eternal cycle basically. If we're asking like temporally how I think the universe has always existed, I think that time is tenseless. I feel like the past and present are just illusions, right? I'm going to Google that book. I've heard really good things about it. Do you have any fear of death? I don't have any fear of the fact that I'm going to die. I don't fear not existing forever, and I don't fear the fact that the universe and the earth are going to continue without me. These are both inevitable. It's going to happen. But what I do fear is just how I'm going to die. I don't want it to be painful.
Hope you refind your faith.
Thank you for the $5 super chat, Bugs in the Vault. I can tell you I'm probably not going to refind it, though. I've done more than enough research to get into where I am with my current religious position. So, for me to refine my faith, quote unquote, I would have to go from looking at these arguments, getting to one that shows clear as day that the God I used to believe in definitely exists, and like it couldn't be any other way. And then I have to go into like there'd have to be more reconciliation between me and that God, right? Like I'm never going to get to a position where, unless maybe I get some brain damage, no offense meant or whatever, but I feel like I'd have to literally get some brain damage before I go from thinking that slavery is never permissible, and so as a result, God would have to be a piece of shit for condoning it like he did, to, God's not that bad for doing so. But I appreciate the $5 super chat regardless.
Do you like chicken or steak?
I love chicken. Yeah, it's my favorite protein, and steak is overall one of my favorite foods. I say it's like number two, right after pizza. But yeah, I do love chicken. Do love steak. Yeah, these are both great proteins for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for what is that? What currency is that? MYR. No, MY is Malaysia. Is that ringgits? Maybe, might be ringgits. Thank you for the 6 Malaysian ringgits. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much, and greetings to Malaysia. You know, it feels kind of odd that I have a whole world of people. Obviously, not the whole world, but that this is reaching all around the planet. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for the 6 Malaysian ringgits. I appreciate it. How unwise should a man be to become atheist? How unwise should a man be to believe in a book with zombies and talking animals? How do you feel about the one religion that's something like God exists, but we don't need to follow him? We can find our own way. There's a few like that. I just say I disagree with the idea that God exists. I just don't feel like there's even a reason to accept that personally. I feel like everything explained by God can be explained sufficiently by something that isn't God. So God becomes unrequired in the explanation of different things. But I feel like that's a better position than God exists and he's something that we should worship and give our lives to. I think that's kind of out there for me. You're not saying anything meaning to me. Oh, you're talking to somebody else. If you were in the Star Wars verse, what character would you want to be, or what side of the Force would you favor more? I feel like I would favor the Jedi more. Which one would I want to be? Probably that one kid that got completely, totally slaughtered into oblivion by Anakin when Order 66 was executed. Uh, no, but to answer unironically, I don't know. Probably like I feel like Boba Fett's pretty cool. I feel like Boba Fett's pretty cool. Yeah, probably Boba Fett. Yeah. That being said, though, I haven't seen too much in the way of Star Wars. You know, one movie I really liked was Rogue One. I can rewatch that probably right now. That's one of my comfort movies. I really like that movie a lot. Is you made in China? No, I'm not made in China. I have a Zhao Hong Shu, but yeah, I'm not made in China. I'm just on there to make some Chinese friends. I feel like that was a real fun time in history to where a bunch of Americans just started flooding an app and meeting Chinese people and Chinese people meeting us and I don't know. So, but no, I'm not made in China. I am American, all American. Um, like muscle cars, trucks, goddamn brisket, fucking goddamn barbecue sauce, Stetson hats, bolo ties, goddamn it, fucking goddamn Jack Daniels, Wheatley American vodka, American flags, bald eagles. Um, yeah, I'm American. Red Note has better kitten videos on TikTok. Oh yeah, their animal videos are top tier for sure. How late are you in the comments? I'm not. I don't know. I just see one and then I yap for a bit and then I read another one and then I yap for a little bit more. Uh oh, T is just still going off on the moral argument. T, if you just want to continue your script, if you want to just intentionally not hear anything I say whatsoever, and just continue like, oh, you get your morals from God, despite you explaining why you very clearly don't get your morals from God, then I just don't know what to tell you. Matter of fact, you can just get out. Yeah, I don't want to talk to walls. I'm sorry. I'm not interested. I'll see you tomorrow. Skadoosh. Take care. Have a good rest of your night. But no, I'm not gonna. If we just want to keep running, you know, morals come from God. Oh, you have a contention to it? Oh, well, morals come from God because morals come from God. Then at that point, you're a waste of my time. So have a good one. Take care. The talking donkey made you leave Christianity? No, the lack of evidence for all of the supernatural claims of the Bible is what caused me to think that Christianity was false. Reading Numbers 22 wasn't the sole reason I left Christianity. No, that's absurd. He just spews nonsense. Yeah, after a while, it just I don't know. If we just want to stick to our Cliff Nectal argument, like but Cliff is so fun. He's so cool. He's so worth the just talking about morals over and over, not listening to any of the contentions whatsoever, and just keep asserting that morals are objective and that they come from God. I don't know. At that point, it's just you're not saying a lot of anything, right? Newton's third law necessitates a God. It does not, unfortunately. If you're talking about the one where entropy increases over time, then all of that would maybe substantiate is that the universe had a point of minimum entropy, and that's quite literally it. It doesn't necessitate a beginning to the universe necessarily. We don't know how entropy relates to dark energy at all, dark matter at all. We don't know physically what caused the expansion of the universe. There's some meat on the bones of cyclical hypotheses, some meat on the bones of quantum fluctuations. And so just saying, oh, I want to assert that a being with a mind created everything just because entropy increases over time, I'm just going to call that arbitrary and unfounded, right? How long were you a Christian? I was a Christian for 19 years. 19 years. If you have the chance to date a 10 out of 10 girl, but she's Christian, would you? I guess it depends on how Christian she is, right? If we're talking goes to church every Sunday, um, wants me to convert, yeah, I just don't think that's worth it. I'd think about it. I'd probably regret it after a while, but I'd probably snap out of it for sure. But no, it's just A nice face ain't really worth it at that point, right? A Christian Girl is no longer a 10 out of 10. Based. Love it. Let's see what we got here. The universe is changing, thus is bound by time. Yeah, time is a property of existence. It's for events to pass, there must be time. I agree with that 100%. But I'm not seeing how that leads to a God, especially a God that we want to claim is outside of time, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Does atheism enable CNFRMTN bias compared to agnostic?
Does atheism enable confirmation bias compared to agnostic? Really quickly, Aaron, thank you for the $2 super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. Enables confirmation bias. I feel like this might be a hot take, but I feel like every position is going to maybe not enable confirmation bias, but maybe not necessarily keep confirmation bias in check. Right. I feel like I've met plenty of atheists, and I feel catch myself doing this quite often too. Being guilty of confirmation bias. I feel like everybody can fall victim to it. I feel like it's a human thing rather than like an atheist versus a theistic thing, you know. Um, I think the best practice would be for somebody to realize when they're doing it and to try to keep themselves in check and to be honest with themselves. Um, but no, I wouldn't say it enables confirmation bias any more than any religious position enables it. Do I believe in the Big Bang? I acknowledge that the Big Bang happened. Yeah, there's more than enough evidence for it. A God which is in the dimension numbered infinity. That's some sci-fi shit if I've ever heard one. Do you feel horrid about like the radicalization of Jesus and Christianity? Since I haven't heard anything not homophobic from the Christian side of my family, I feel pretty fucking awful about it. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty gross, pretty disgusting. That we use our faith, I say our, but that they use their faith to justify such awful thinking about people solely because they I don't know, they're men that like dick or women that like vagina or that they don't believe in a god or that they're identify with a gender that doesn't necessarily correlate with their biological sex. I feel like these are very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that people use their faith to try to demean these people. I feel it's like very disgusting. You learn how to write homophobic? Let's go. I think we naturally see confirmation bias because it's definitely a skill to recognize. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Um, the trick is always ask yourself, can I be wrong? Right. And the reason that I feel so at least confident in my dismissal of a lot of different arguments that are presented to me is because I've pondered that question hundreds of times for each of these arguments. And so realizing that I've done my part and also realizing that people's persistence and their confidence and their disingenuity, obtuseness, dishonesty in arguing these points doesn't constitute me questioning it any further. So, but for new things, yeah, I definitely try to keep myself in check for sure. What do you think about games that incorporate religious themes like Outlast, Cult of the Lamb, Binding of Isaac? Maybe aesthetically they're pretty cool. That's really about it though. I don't dislike them or like them any more or less because they use religious themes. I feel like it's just one of those things that it's like God of War basically, right? Like they use this technically religious themes to for its whole aesthetic. So I feel like it's pretty cool. I'd say overall it's kind of positive that these games are painting this particular religion as something that is worthy of being made into a game or an aesthetic and doesn't necessitate more or less quote unquote respect than any other mythology. I feel like overall that's pretty positive, but I don't have any negative or positive feelings about it. I feel like it's just an artistic point, right? Dublin YouTube, YT, Dublin YT, thank you for subscribing. Are you actually from Ireland? You Ireland? Bro has no soul. I don't think anybody has a soul. I feel like souls are just I don't know, supernatural psychobabble personally. I really enjoy games that have religious themes. Far Cry 5 is a really good example of. I haven't played Far Cry 5, but I do remember InfoWars going really ape shit about it because they had like church folks getting shot up. I know you're an atheist, but do you believe in the mark of the beast? No, I don't believe in the mark of the beast personally. What do you think about the argument? I said I didn't see your argument. What's your argument? What is your argument? Sorry about the people who insult you. I believe in God, but I insist we should be respectful. I sincerely appreciate that, Mythic Zoom. Thank you. If it's any consolation, it doesn't. I don't lose sleep over it. Like the stream ends and I go back to my regular life, and that's kind of it. Um, or if not, maybe record a video or something. But outside of this, I'm not thinking too hard about it. And B, if it's any consolation, as long as you're doing your part to engage neutrally, then you're not required to apologize for anybody else. Ugh. All right, let's just do it. Didn't say it yet. I don't think Mark of the Beast is actually biblical. I think it is. I know it might be. I think it's vaguely referenced in Revelation 16. Um, but like the whole rapture tribulation thing definitely isn't biblical. But I do think the Mark of the Beast is like in Revelation 16, because I feel like it's a part of the first bowl of God's wrath that gets poured out, which is festering sores breaking out on the faces of those who take it. Sammy Brownie, thank you for subscribing. I sincerely appreciate it. Why do you think there's so many outspoken Christians on social media recently? It seems like there's a surge of Christian content recently. This might be a really cynical way of looking at it, but I feel like it's just a trend at this point. As evidenced by the fact that like people in comment sections are more privy to just going around saying Jesus died for you, and that whole spiel. It's more so just a trend. There will always be counterculture, and part of like the current countercultural zeitgeist is being like this really traditionalist, goddamn trad bro sort of conservative Christian, like that whole like giga chad sort of image. You know, they all kind of bit the red pill bait on that, and with that comes this more so like flaunting around of Christian beliefs for sure. So yeah, I think that's the only reason. If it becomes less trendy, their content dies out. I don't think they, even though they might genuinely be Christian, I feel like that'll be it for them. Not enough memory. Wait 1 second. Let's refresh. All right, there we go. Thought my Streamlabs shut down for a second there. There we go. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're chilling. We're chilling. We're chilling. Just asking why'd you turn atheist. I left Christianity because I didn't see any evidence for Christianity being true. That's why I left. If meaning, morality, and awe still matter to you without God, could that suggest they point to something beyond us rather than just human inventions? I wouldn't say they're human inventions per se. Like meaning, I feel like it's ultimately subjective. Morality is like a framework for how we apply our empathy. All it's just a thing that we feel. I don't feel like there has to be anything outside of what's explainable by human consciousness that these things would have to point to, any more than the feeling of depression, sadness, or suffering would have to point to anything higher, right? Even if evolution is true, where does the universe come from? I think the universe itself has always existed. I don't see a good reason to believe anything different. There's the law of conservation of mass, which says that, you know, matter can't be created or destroyed, only transformed. Matter exists, therefore, I think matter has always existed, or what at least condensed into matter post expansion has always existed. Because if it went from not existing to existing, then it was created, which does, you know, kind of violates the law, right? Jesus exists. You can't prove me wrong. For creation to cease to exist, there needs to be a creator. Calling existence creation is just arbitrary. Any more than I can just say existence is not created because it's not created, proving that there's no God, right? It's just an arbitrary nothing burger of a thing to say. You're not that smart. I appreciate your opinion. Why do y'all disagree with me? I think Pascal's wager best helps belief in Christianity. Pascal's wager is pretty awful. Everybody's taking just as much of an evidential chance as anybody else. It assumes that religious belief is some sort of coin flip rather than like a multi-thousand sided roulette wheel. And also people can't choose their beliefs. So, I think Pascal's wager works. So like if you want to argue that the argumentation behind Pascal's wager is good, then I could just say I'm trying to appease the God that most values people being an atheist, and so I'll be good after I die, and all believers will be screwed. So, no. God aside, do you believe there was a man Jesus was based upon? Yeah, I do personally. I think there was a guy who was an outspoken Jewish person, during the Roman Empire's reign, causing a ruckus and got crucified for it. I think these are true. I don't think he was the son of God, and I think he was thrown into a mass grave, and that was just kind of it for him. But no, definitely no son of God. So you explained your view of the universe, but to me it seems too complex to exist without creator. What's your explanation? I don't think complexity is the hallmark of creation. Simplicity is. And just to demonstrate what I mean by that, think of literally anything that you know to be invented or created, and think about whether or not it works as simply as it possibly can for its intended purpose, or whether it works as complexly as it possibly can for its intended purpose. For me, everything that I see or can account for that has been invented or created is as simply works as simply as it possibly can be for the purpose that it was invented for. You can maybe say Rube Goldberg machines, but I mean, even those are made for entertainment. So, like, the complexity of it is part of the entertainment factor. So, again, for its purpose, it's, as simple as it can be. So, yeah, complexity leading to something needing to create it. I'm just not seeing the link there. You're not eating right now? No, I'm not eating. Simulation theory is just spirituality for nerdy, smarter than now atheist TBH. In that, we kind of agree a little bit. I mean, you can believe in a simulation while also believing in a God. So I wouldn't say like it's confined to the atheist position necessarily, but yeah, I don't see a good reason to believe in a simulation theory either. You say you're smart, but I don't think you are. When did I ever say I was smart?
Zero opinion on lost advanced ancient civilizations?
Ariok, thank you for the $2 super chat. My opinion on lost advanced ancient civilizations. I don't think that these civilizations that are lost or that we'll never be able to, unearth, or at least won't, that we won't unearth or never will end up unearthing. I don't feel like they would have been really advanced past our current point of humanity. Because, like, if they were, let's say iPhones were, or something similar was invented back in, like, I don't know, the, I don't know, goddamn 10,000 years ago or something, then it would have left a lot better evidence than what we have available to us now for in, modern. It's not anthropology that deals with that, it's archaeology, right? So yeah, I don't think they were super advanced. Maybe more advanced than we should expect them to be, but maybe definitely not to the level of technological advancement that we are now. But yeah, appreciate the $2 super chat, and also T, thank you for subscribing. You are not getting untimed out though. You've added nothing to the stream, except for a continued disingenuous appeal to objective morality, while completely ignoring all possible contentions. So you are not getting untimed out. You are in the shadow realm, and you will be back tomorrow. But for today, you are skadooshed. Appreciate that subscription though. Do you remember life before you were born? Do you think that's what it's like when you die? Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. Physically speaking, you didn't exist yet. The sperm that made you didn't meet the egg that made you. So there was no brain to form, so no consciousness to form. So you didn't exist yet. So that's why you weren't aware of the world yet, because you didn't exist. Simultaneously, after you die, all of your brain functions cease and you're dead, and that's it. And so you will no longer be able to perceive the world around you, and that'll be it for you. At least that's where all the evidence leads us, and that's what I find to be most convincing. Relax Station, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can the universe be more complex? If yes, is it possible the universe is as simple as it could be? It could be more complex. I do think so. I would agree with that, but I don't think the ability for it to be more complex than it is currently points to it being as simple as it possibly could be now. right, let's hypothetically, if a God created us and it wanted us to um have all of our bodily functions be as efficient as possible, he could have done a lot of things differently. He could have made the way that we breathe. He could have, made the tubes different. He could have made digestion not be such a long, arduous process on our digestive system. There wouldn't even necessarily be the need for all these. I think it's like what 11 or 12 bodily systems that we have. Could have done it a lot differently, at least from what I can conceive. So yeah, complex, sure. As simple as like could be more complex, sure. As simple as it possibly could be, no, I don't agree with that personally. What if the universe isn't that smart? What if we're the universe seeing and creating itself? I mean, I don't think we're the universe creating itself, but I do think we're the universe experiencing itself, if that makes sense. Edgar, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Uh, while we have a little lull in the chat really quickly, I'm gonna light this up really quickly. Take a puff or two of this real quick. Mellow out. I do gotta get ready for bed soon. Shit, where's my lighter? Anybody see my lighter, chat? Chat, where's my? Okay, I found it. Never mind. Hope you have a good day. Appreciate it, CF. You have a good rest of your day as well. You keep appearing in my FYP, man. Ta-da! God is really you smoke too. I do smoke. Yeah, I love getting high. Yeah, absolutely love it. It's fantastic. It's one of the simplest, cleanest pleasures that you can have in life. Love it for sure. Sinner is crazy. I don't think you're as smart as you think you are. No money car guy. You must be talking to somebody else because like I've answered this multiple times. I don't. If you're talking to me, like okay, and like just and would you put me in a blunt rotation? Probably not. If your name is Gert, you're probably not going to be somebody I want to smoke with.
You're the universe experiencing getting high.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat, Ariak. Appreciate it. Going crazy with the super chats. Thanks so much, man. But yeah, cheers. Fuck it. Really quickly, yo, this your chill voice, bro. This is the way I normally sound. Yeah, is just how it's just what you get. Not talking to you. Okay, fair enough. My bad. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I kind of want to listen to a song now. I don't want to get my video demonetized though. I mean, well, not. I don't have ads on it yet. I didn't have enough watch hours for that, but I don't think it would be good practice for me to just play music on all my streams and get all my streams demonetized. Just have to pay UMG every single stream, right? If God existed, do you believe he can become a human? If he's all powerful, sure. It's one of the things he would be able to do. Don't see what the logical issue with that would be. Kind of have the same voice, not gonna lie. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Right. God damn, why won't this thing stay lit, dude? What's wrong with it? Okay. I probably gotta get a new lighter soon, or like one of those torches. I got a Bic, and yeah, it's a great lighter brand, but yeah, this one's it's kind of an old lighter. It's probably running out of fuel. This voice is very different than the father voice. Oh, speaking of which, um, no, I'm not gonna do it. I don't have the energy for it, and plus that's more so like a TikTok thing, and I'm not on TikTok right now. I like seeing people on TikTok either play along or just clutch their pearls when it happens. Don't Brock people, dude. What? Huh? What does that even mean? Anyone see the new Final Destination? Is it already out? If so, I really, really, really want to see it. I loved Final Destination back when it came out. The characters sucked. I'm kind of glad they died off in the ways they did. Like that one dude, I forget which one it was, but oh no, it's the most recent one. It was the prequel. That dude with the glasses that got his head smashed by the Buddha statue in the massage parlor. Yeah, he was a dick. Fuck that guy. Tua. How was the world created? I think the universe has always existed. If you're talking about planetary formation, like accretion disks and gravity is what formed our planet. It's what forms most planets from a look of it. Have people tried to attribute your drug use to being an atheist? Yeah, I've gotten that one a couple times. Oh, you're so empty. Oh, you like to smoke weed and you like to get drunk on occasion. Yeah, you're just so empty inside, but God can fix that. Jesus loves you. I'll be praying for all the condescending bullshit. Yeah, I've gotten that plenty of times for sure. Bro said accretion disc, he knows ball. Skadoosh. Sub? Hell yeah, thanks, man. Welcome, man. Do you believe anything is objectively right or wrong? If so, on what basis? I believe things are absolutely wrong and right, or maybe not right. Is there anything absolutely right? I'll have to think about it for more. I think there are things that are absolutely wrong. I feel like the word objectively that you guys keep borrowing from each other um, is just a linguistically incorrect word to use. Right. When I say that there's no objective morals, I'm not saying that everything's morally permissible or not permissible. I'm saying that there's no mind independent basis for morality. Like the conversation of morality is one that definitionally has to come down to personal conviction. But yeah, there are things I think are absolutely wrong. We shouldn't go around touching kids or sexually assaulting each other, right? I think that's wrong because of my empathy. Right. I have no desire to be touched. Don't not gonna touch anybody else without their consent. Um, so same thing that powers everybody else's morality. I don't think it comes from a god, especially a monotheistic one, which would shoot the idea in the foot of everybody getting their morality from one source, but people having different moral convictions about things. I'm down for a chill stream. I sub to you, brother. Also, can you explain why I have a Kratos voice? I don't know. You might just be chat, dude. I don't know. TBH, I don't get God anymore. Things just seem messy every time somebody tries to convince me. If you're unconvinced, just here's one thing I'll probably make a video about this. Things I want to tell people who are deconstructing, but the persistence that people who are believers will have toward trying to convert you is in and of itself not a good reason for you to give more credence to ideas that you're genuinely not convinced by.
Some gyats can be absolutely right.
Some gyats can be absolutely right. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Yes, some gyats are just insane. Just insane gyats. Y'all know Naomi, the WWE wrestler? She's got an absolutely right gyat. I mean, I'm talking biblical gyat. Some days, just to cheer myself up, if I'm like having bad thoughts, I'll think about her gyat, and just my mood instantly improves. Jimmy Uso, lucky ass dude for scoring that for sure. Um, yeah, there's some absolutely right gyats out there, absolutely. Um, who else? Megan Thee Stallion, W gyat. I was gonna name somebody else, but she does a line of work that I don't want to talk about right now. Uh, fuck it, yeah, Mia Malkova. That's an absolutely right gyat right there. But yeah, thank you again for the $2 super chat, Ariak. I appreciate it. Go back to the Lord. I'm good on that. Have you ever watched Billy Carson's content? Not really. I saw the debate with him and Wes Huff. He did get blown out on that. I'll give Wes Huff this. If he's an apologist, automatically I'm going to disagree with his position. But at the very least, I can say has a decent enough understanding of the Bible. I'll give him that for sure. And so I think it was kind of unwise for Billy to challenge him on that. But overall, no, I haven't looked into Billy Carson's content. Outside of doing this content myself, I don't really spend time watching long form content of other creators in the space. I really should start though. If I get bigger, I these are people I might have to network with or like, try to establish a dialogue with. But yeah, yeah. So no, I don't. One person I do like though, Holy Kool-Aid. I shared a video of his recently where he gave like I think it was like a dozen reasons why the Noah's Ark story is false. He's great at what he does, but in general, like outside of allegedly Ian, Deconstruction Zone, Doctor Blitz, a few other like more so TikTok debate streamers. I'm not super huge into like atheist content. I more so watch like esports and shit. Megan Thee Stallion is my dream. If I that probably would fix me. I'll just say it outright. One night with Megan Thee Stallion probably would fix my life. Yeah, yeah. Or like Liv Morgan from WWE. A very attractive woman. Great wrestler too. She's really improved in the ring. Justin's a beast. Justin is a fucking goat, man. His biblical knowledge is absurd. He tosses people away left, right, and center. I don't know what like when they do when he and Ian and Blitz do like the I think it's called unapologetic. They're I don't know if it's bi-weekly, like whenever they do it on Saturdays. Um if you see these three motherfuckers on one stream and you know anything about what they do, one dude's got unreal like collegiate level biblical knowledge. One dude's got a PhD in mathematical physics. I think it's mathematical physics that he has, and one dude's just like a philosophical demon. You couldn't pay me to, even if I was a Christian, you could not fucking pay me to go up there and embarrass myself. They're they're just fantastic at what they do. Justin is Dan McClellan in attack mode. I think that's the perfect way to describe him. How long have you been a Christian and why did you leave it? I was a Christian up until I was 19, and I left Christianity because I didn't see any evidence for Christianity being true. Uh, No good evidence to believe that Jesus rose from the dead. No good reason to believe that God exists. Um, no good reason to believe that the flood happened. No good reason to think that the Genesis story is true. So, yeah, that's why I left. Really like your voice. Oh, I appreciate that random go. Thank you so much. Uh, uh, is Megan in WWE? No, she's a rapper, but a gorgeous, gorgeous, attractive, hot, sexy woman. Just she seems like she's got a great personality too. I really like her like outgoing but kind sort of disposition. She's I don't simp for a lot of people, but yeah, Megan Thee Stallion's one person I simp for sure. I think it all comes down to faith. Like it's perfectly understandable why you don't find any reasons in left. Yeah, fair enough, right? Um, appreciate the objectivity in that for sure. I stopped being Christian. I stopped being a Christian when I read the Bible. Genesis 19:30-38 says to sleep with your dad. Yeah, there's a lot of really fucked up stuff, and especially the first 5 books of the Bible. Deuteronomy 22:28 and 29. As an aside, maybe I shouldn't speak for women if I'm not one, but for me, I couldn't possibly reconcile the holy prophet of the Old Testament, or the most important prophet of the Old Testament being Moses. I couldn't possibly reconcile somebody like that condoning sexual assault and still be in a religion as a woman. I think that's kind of absurd. But I mean, if it works for them, works for them, right? Can't decide if I want to be her or if I want her. Just want her for me. I feel like it would be exhausting to be her, but just give me all that. Oh, she tall too. Oh, I love tall women. I like this is just going off the rails, but fuck it. I like women that are either really tall or really short. The in between's nice too, obviously. Like I'm heterosexual, right? But yeah, those are the two that I'm really like, hell yeah. I'm talking 5'10" and over, or 5'4" and shorter. Those are that's prime right there. How was the Earth created? I think the Earth, not think, um, planets form by way of accretion disks and gravity pulling particles together over the course of millions of years. That's how planets form. Let me put this out real quick. I'm sitting here nursing it. Then I wonder why my shit's why I run out so quick. But yeah, accretion disks and gravity is how planets form. That's how Earth formed, as far as we can tell. Sorry, give me a second. I don't know. I really got to stop putting this shit out with my fingers. Then I wonder why I'm losing feeling in my fingertips. It's no shit. I'm burning them to hell. Give me a second. Is that properly skadooshed? Yeah, we're good. Good night. Join Discord. You're super chill, dude. Like your voice too, by the way. JFK here definitely did just did that. All right, dude. In that we're going to disagree, but yeah, appreciate you. Have a good rest of your night, Ben. Megan's 5'10", and I stand. Yeah, that's a tall drink of water. Mm. I say I climb that, but I'm still taller than her. But yeah, I'd metaphorically climb that for sure. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about Megan Thee Stallion. I could talk about Megan Thee Stallion all day. Keeping it simple, you believe in God, bro. You saying shit that sounds mystical doesn't make you right. Oh, you're talking to somebody else. I like science. I'm guessing a bunch. My GPA is like 3.4, so please don't think I'm just another random kid yapping. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of Christians doing this or believers doing this, and they're very, very varied. And they're extremely varied, I should say. That was a really clunky sentence, but there's a lot of variance between the level of education or scientific acceptance that Christians show me for sure. Uh, B Tide again, dude. I'm not again. You probably weren't here for it, but B Tide, if you're coming into my stream expecting me to go back and forth with you, somebody who doesn't know me, who's probably been in my stream for less than like 10 minutes, versus me who's been living my life for the past 29 years, I'm not going to go back and forth with you about whether I was a Christian or not. Um, you don't know me. I don't know you. You're not me. I'm me. You're not me. I'm not you. You're you. So, just because you don't like that your religion isn't perfect enough to be genuinely held as true by somebody and for them to not leave it, I mean, that's a you problem. Don't take it up with me, right? You have climbed her. If you were telling the truth, that would be fucking, that's lucky. No, but love and adore real Christians. Problem is there aren't many of them. I don't use the term real Christian very often. I feel like the mere belief that Christ existed and was the Son of God and resurrected and died for your sins and all that stuff, like, I feel like as long as somebody's that, then they can call themselves a Christian, no matter how nasty of a person they are. Gotta leave for football training. I'd love to have a verbal meeting if you'd have time. I don't know if it sounds outlandish, but please consider. If you are over the age of 18, and only if you're over the age of 18, you can join my Discord. I hang out in there. Sometimes I'll come in, fuck around a bit. But yeah, we can do that. But if you're talking about like on stream, as the stream grows, I kind of want to get out of the practice of talking to people individually because if like earlier in this stream I had like 500 viewers at a point, and so imagine if those 500 people stayed and I'm just talking to one person and ignoring all the other 500. Like, I don't feel like that's really conducive to the conversation I want to have. Oh, people saying he was never Christian. What about Peter, who turned away from Jesus 3 times? Just because he turned away doesn't suddenly mean he wasn't one. It's something that they say to A, antagonize, and B, to mentally keep their beliefs beyond reproach, right? Like, in their mind, they believe something perfect and something that's so apparent and so perfect and so obvious that they have a hard time understanding that somebody could believe in the things that they do and come to the conclusion later that it's not real anymore. It's it helps them keeping in their mind like, oh, this is a perfect thing that cannot possibly be left if you truly believe it. And they try to make that my problem by telling me I wasn't a Christian, and I just don't know what to tell you on that, right? Uh, wasn't Adolf Hitler? You can say Hitler on YouTube. A true Christian, like he tried to avenge the death of Jesus. I wouldn't call genociding Jewish people to be avenging the death of Jesus, especially considering that Jewish people weren't the ones that murdered Jesus. It was the Romans. Imagine thinking you're powerful enough to change reality with your thoughts. Yeah, been there, done that. But yeah. What made you change? So I left my faith after about a year and a half of deconstruction, and deconstruction is just critically thinking about why you believe what you believe and interrogating your faith, taking it apart layer by layer, piece by piece, and checking to see if you find any veracity in the claims of the faith. And ultimately, for me, after about a year and a half of that process, I just came to the conclusion that I don't believe in anything supernatural or divine. Jesus was Jewish. Indeed, he was. Yeah, he even said that he didn't come to do away with the law of the prophets and that he came to fulfill it, not to abolish it in Matthew 5:17. But um, they wouldn't know that if they actually read the Bible, so that's a little bit too much to ask of them, right? Unchained, do you know about the cosmic microwave background radiation? I know about it. Yeah, it proves that the universe is expanding. Really groundbreaking discovery in the realm of physics for sure. It's one of the things I like to appeal to when people ask what's the evidence of the Big Bang. Um, CBMR and obviously redshift too. So yeah, I'm aware of it. I don't know why people keep denying that the Big Bang happened. You can block me now if you want. Why would I block you? What's up, Levi? Some big adventure. Good to see you. Jesus was a Palestinian Jew. Indeed, he was. Yeah, he was a dude just out there in modern day Palestine, just Jewing it up. I couldn't think of a better word, but yeah, he was definitely a Jew or a Jewish person. Um, yeah, I don't understand why people try to act like he wasn't. Ugh. All right, do we get off here? Do we get off here? How long has it been? How long have I been up? Squeeze out 15 more minutes. Sure, right? He was a pretty crap rabbi, keeps getting quoted using the Septuagint version of the Old Testament. Seems he wasn't good enough to learn Hebrew or Aramaic. Yeah, kind of funny how that works, right? Kind of why I give some, why I chew on the bones of mythicism a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of funny how that works, right? How do I ground my standard for what is true? Axiomatically, right? For instance, I should probably take this to the kitchen, but fuck it. There's a bottle of ketchup in my hand. If we have a definition for what a bottle of ketchup is, we know what ketchup is, a sauce made of corn syrup, unfortunately, but tomato paste, vinegar, salt, all these other things inside of a plastic bottle. Um, so if we come to a definition of what a bottle of ketchup is, then it becomes true that what I'm holding in my hand is indeed a bottle of ketchup. So the laws of logic that things are what they are, law of identity, the things aren't what they aren't, law of non contradiction, and that there's no ontological flexibility of um, what something is or isn't, which is the law of excluded middle. Um, these are self evidently true. So if we agree on the definitions of things and at least agree on that framework, then there's no need to ground it outside of these axioms for sure. I'm a former atheist, now a believer in higher power. Well, it's good for you. I'm glad you found what worked for you. Just didn't work for me, but yeah, if that works for you, hell yeah, have at it for sure. What's my favorite sport? WWE doesn't count as a sport. It's sports entertainment. Scripted choreography basically. Uh, so my favorite actual sport though, probably football, like American football. Yeah, I don't keep up with any sports, but oh, and no, I'll take that back. Probably hockey. It's probably at least when I'm watching it live, like I enjoy hockey more than the other sports. Um, Back when I used to live in Ohio, there was this I forget the league, but it was like, oh, Arena Hockey League, maybe the AHL. I think that's what it was called. And there was this team called the Lake Erie Monsters, and I saw them a couple times at the what was then known as the Quicken Loans Arena. Now it's known as like the Rocket Mortgage Field House or some dumb shit. Uh, Loved it. It was great. Love hockey. At least watching it, but favorite to keep up with and like maybe watch in my free time probably football. But I don't tend to watch a lot of it. The universe isn't perfect, and neither are humans. Just a lot of mistakes and chance. Uh, I agree on the chance for sure. Mistake. I don't really ascribe to using the word mistake. I try to be a little bit more intentional with it because, like, mistake implies that things should have been another way and they ended up this way instead. And I don't personally believe that to be the case. I think things are the way that they're going to be given the behavior of the universe. And so, but yeah, overall, I do agree. Yeah, just chance, coincidence is why we're here. Hockey is a beautiful sport. I love when they just start fighting. That's pretty fucking hilarious. Like, I was sitting in, I think it was like the fifth row. I was like super duper close to the ice or the, the field basically, and this a fight broke out. Like it was, I think it was about maybe 30 feet to my left on the field, and like yeah, this motherfuckers just start boxing each other, dude. It's like, why are we playing this sport if we're just expecting to box each other? Like, what the fuck's going on? But yeah, it was really fun. What's the core principle of religion called atheism? I know that's bait, and you're just trying to get me to like go back and forth with this like weird idea that atheism is a religion. Definitionally untrue, but I'm not going to debate you about it if you're intent on being like obtuse. But the core thing that makes you an atheist is a lack of belief in a God. That's quite literally all it is. Can we get Alex out of here? What did Alex say? Are we skadooshing Alex? Is Alex off his medication again? All right, let's get a poll going. Fuck it. No, I love democracy. Do we skadoosh Alex for the night? Yes or no? All right. Yeah, we're gonna do this democratically. Start the poll. All right, vote in the poll, y'all. Are we getting Alex out of here? Are we getting the fuck out of here? Poll is up. It's 50-50. Vote in the poll. All right. We're gonna end it after like a minute. Whichever one is where it ends is, decides Alex's fate. um Why'd I have to be 18? I was just asking because I really hope to have a verbal chat. So I'm not interested in talking to minors, right? Especially about something as profound and complex as religion. I feel like, well, in my experience, minors don't quite have it all figured out, and like nobody does, but minors are closer to, or at least more. They tend more to just borrow arguments from apologists that convince them, and they more so just believe based on indoctrination by their parents. So they make that very apparent. So that's why I'm not interested in talking to minors. And another thing for why I don't let them in my server, or at the least very much prefer if they stay out of my server, is because I feel like it would be irresponsible of me to have a server where I allow minors and adults to commingle. I feel like that could lead to some, at the absolute worst, some really tragic stuff, and I don't even want to take that chance. So no. All right. Let's see. How long has this poll been up? All right. So far, we're a no. People are liking Alex. All right. People want Alex in the chat. Hell yeah. We're at 55 for no. I'm going to end it when it gets to 2 minutes. Vote in the poll. We're at 55% no, 45% yes. So, thoughts on the atheist experience? I've watched a few episodes of them, and I always love them. Big fan of Forrest. Big fan of Dillahunty. I more so watched The Line though, because they get some more so into like political issues, and they really switch up their religious debates and with different prompts and stuff. And they, obviously they go live almost every day. So I prefer The Line, but yeah, Atheist Experience, The Line, Truth Wanted. Yeah, these are great. I like watching them. All right, final vote in poll. We are not Skadoosh and Alex. Alex stays in the stream. There we go. It was God's will. It was God's will. How do you account for the immaterial, universal, unchanging nature of the law of non-contradiction in the purely material or subjective framework? Easily, by not arbitrarily claiming metaphysical idealism, right? If we accept the framework of defining the world around us and communicating as it, communicating under this general agreed upon agreement on what is things that are defined within the world around us, and it becomes self-evidently true that things can't be one thing and also its negation. So that's how I account for it, right? The fact that a bottle of ketchup is indeed a bottle of ketchup proves the law of identity. The fact that a bottle of ketchup is not a bottle of ketchup proves the law of non-contradiction. The fact that there's no ontological flexibility about what a bottle of ketchup is proves that the law of excluded middle is true. So I don't describe these things as like some sort of woo-woo sci-fi thing, tangible or existing force that we're just merely accessing. The laws of logic are descriptive of the reality around us. They're not something that is prescribed to the reality around us, right? I miss the old days of AXP. Tracy and Matt were a brutal combo. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. I saw a couple of shorts from them for like way back in the day, from like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It has been like, I don't know, a few years ago. Yeah, Matt Dillahunty in particular is just really, really fucking funny. On the one hand, I want to not so much be like him, but I'm a fan of his style. He's really no nonsense. I fucking love it. Dude, it's just he don't play around. I guess because he's been doing it for so long too. He's talked to so many people that he's just like just over it at this point. Yeah, he is so unintentionally funny. It's not even. It's just hilarious. Taurus. Hey, I'm a Taurus too. Let's go, baby. Let's fucking go. If God doesn't exist, how is he? The fuck what even is that question? If we're going to use laughing emojis with our shit, hey, let's make sure we're making a joke or something that's meant to be funny, right? But at the very least, if we're going to like do the insecure, trying to appear cool and try to diffuse our antagonization because we're insecure, if we're going to do that, at the very least, can we make sense with the things that we're being antagonistic about? Like, what the fuck is this question? If God doesn't exist, how is he? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, hello? Like, huh? If God doesn't exist, how is he? Huh? Are we fucking joking? Surely we're joking, right? We gotta be joking. We all Taurus. Hey, let's fucking go. Love me some Tauruses. Yeah, it's fun people. I don't believe in astrology, but I tend to like Tauruses, and I get along well with for like women, for like people I get into relationships with. I tend to get along with Pisces and Cancer pretty well. But as far as friends, Tauruses are great. Virgos are great too. I know some really awesome Virgos. Geminis are hit and miss. I don't know. Beside the point. Kick Osmond out. Did we just get Osmond out of here? Did we just get one of the friendlies out of here? Just skadoosh him. Just call it a day. I'm just kidding. Make a vote about Oxman. If they voted to keep you in, I don't think they're gonna, be fair with their vote against Oxman. So I'm not making a vote against Oxman. He's staying. He's staying. You've definitely heard it 1,000 times, but I'm not one of those kids. Some of that mostly figured out already. Then the other figured out part is just largely life on Earth and shit. That's great. That's awesome. I love that. But we're just don't join my Discord server, please. That's a firm no. If you do join my Discord server and I find out you're in there and you're not 18 years of age or older, then you get banned, and you get banned permanently, because it's the literal #1 rule that everybody has to agree with before they see the rest of the channels. So yeah, just I get we want to have a conversation. You feel strongly in your religion, you wish to defend your religion, you want to have a more in-depth dialogue than what you can get in a YouTube chat. I do completely understand it, but time is not on your side here. I just don't want kids on my server. Bring democracy back towards being besties with Pisces and Cancer. Yeah, at least with relationships, we tend to get along. I don't know why. I don't like having favorite exes, right? But probably my favorite ex was a Cancer. No, she was a Pisces. She was a Pisces. No, almost said her name, but no, she was a Pisces. She was a really, really fun person. If she wanted to get back together, like I haven't talked to her in years, but if she just randomly texts me like, "Hey, want to give it another shot?" I'd probably just say "fuck it" and do it. Why not? Just why not? I'm not secretly pining for her or anything, but yeah, she was awesome. She was awesome people. Uh 110498. Oh, 98's fine. Yeah, as long as you are 18, or if your age is either equal to 18 or greater than 18 and you want to join my Discord, come welcome in. If your age is 17 or a value less than 17, then don't join my Discord server, right? Anytime we both got time to have an in-depth talk about this shit, I love to. We just have to keep it to the YouTube chat, dude. I just don't want minors on there, but I do appreciate the passion at least. Where's Maria? Me and Maria broke up. I say me and Maria broke up. Maria broke up with me because, in her own words, our ambitions were just a little bit too different. Like ultimately, she wants to stay in, like she's found home basically, right? She wants to stay in with her family, whatever city they live in. Wants to be at the very least near to um you know, yeah, just wants to be near to her family and everything, and kind of she, live her life. She's got a dream job, basically. For me, obviously, I desire to eventually like move out of the country and do all these other things in my life. So, yeah, she was like, okay, well, she's like, might as well now while it's, that's fair. That's fair. So you've never had a near death experience or studied them. There are many on YouTube. Why is the God figures always saying Jesus, not Muhammad or Zeus? Um, you haven't seen enough near death experiences, right? There was this one website I saw back when I was first deconstructing, and it was funny story. Like a lot of the ones that were submitted that were in Arabic were ones that were claiming to see Allah or Muhammad. So people definitely see these different religious figures that they're most familiar with, which leads me to believe that the brain is more so just hallucinating things that it's familiar with in order to comfort itself when it's close to death, rather than like everybody seeing mutually exclusive, true, contradictory things. Your Pisces are easy to get along with. I believe it. I believe it. Religious people can't comprehend that there are things people don't understand yet, and that those things aren't explained through religion. Oh, there you go, right? It's like, do we know what caused the expansion of the universe definitively? No. It's a god as described in a book with talking animals that had to spread by way of the sword and not spread naturally due to its self-evident truths in its claims. Is that true? Most likely not. Called DMT boy. Yeah, I've done it once. Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. But yeah, you've had a near death experience, or say I believe in something more than that, but not Jesus. Fair is fair, right? Do uncontacted tribes that have never heard of Christianity go to hell? Depends on which Christian you ask, right? Ask people that believe in like efficacious grace, and probably yeah. The people who were around before Jesus, like the cavemen and shit, they go to heaven, or at least they aren't held to the same standard as of belief based works like Christians or ex Christians or people that have heard of Jesus are. But ask like evangelicals, the answer is probably gonna be no. It's kind of weird how that works. Jesus is waiting for people like you, and he can keep waiting, right? Oh wait, we're at 3 hours. Shit, yeah, shit. Um, yeah. let's get on out of here. Let's call it a day. Let's call it a good stream. End it here. You know, consistent 3 hours, fine by me. Promote the stuff. If you would like to keep up with the content, make sure to subscribe. Now is your time. Subscribe to the YouTube. If you would like to follow my other channels, I'm eventually going to be streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Kick, and Trovo. Multi-streaming to all of them like I used to. So follow those if you want. You know, follow your preferred platform. Also follow me on Clapper, Lemonade, Blue Sky, Threads, Xiaohongshu, like TikTok alternatives, and Twitter alternatives, right? What else? Join the subreddit if you're over the age of 18, and only if you are 18 or over. Join my Discord, or add me on Snapchat if you want to talk in private. If you want to send text to speech in the future and you don't want to send a super chat, you can always tip $1 or more on my Streamlabs page, or donate $1 or more to the Crisis text line through my Streamlabs charity page. If you want to support the stream, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App's all in there. My bio. Join my Patreon. You know, it'll probably be the people I bring up as guests in the event. Eventually, it's like my patrons. If you want to send food while I'm live, I'll never go live while any of the restaurants are open. But if I'm ever live when the restaurants are open, and you want to send me some food, my treat streams in my bio. If you want to send me something from my wish list, my throne is in my bio. If you want to send crypto, I have a Strike for Bitcoin, Lightning, invoices, and I also have a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and PayPal USD addresses. So I do sincerely appreciate y'all being here. Take care. Have a good one.